Hello and welcome, everybody. It's that time again where we gather around the holler goblin and we tell spooky stories. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Harry. How are you guys? Yeah, tap, tap, tap. Send some holler goblin love, guys. Get the algorithm to algorithm. Or whatever, whatever we gotta do. Spam the chat with some Bigfoots and some Mothmans and some lizard people, all that good stuff. We're gonna give everybody just a few minutes to get in here, get the notification, all that stuff. How is everybody tonight? Your favorite live? Awesome. Well, hopefully we have a good night tonight. It's been a little slow here recently, but last night's stream was pretty fantastic. We didn't have an enormous amount of stories, but I feel like we had just the right amount of stories. And they were all good stories, too. They were, pretty wholesome Bigfoot and paranormal stories. So, and my favorite one from last night was the one about Robert the Doll. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but that was a really cool story. Also, the one about the silver. Did you guys hear that one? That was stuff like that. It's like, how can that be a coincidence? I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe it could be, but it's so weird to think that, something like that would be a coincidence. So, let's see. Yeah, definitely very interesting. All right, guys, keep tapping, keep sending those hearts. More hearts means more people, means more ghost stories. We got to get out there onto the FYP so we can lure some people in to tell us spooky stories. Hopefully everything is working properly. I feel like I just had a technical difficulty. Everything's still working? Holler from the holler. Oh, I see Harry and Holly and TJ. The whole Boo crew is here. Well, not everybody, not yet. Everybody's on their way. But, of course my internet is going to start glitching. Of course it is. Hi, Lori. How are you? Alright, guys, tap the screen, get some hearts, get some people in here. It may just be slow, throughout the summer. That's what I'm kind of afraid of, and that's why I was saying the other day that maybe, maybe I would do like a hiatus until the fall when it's kind of spooky season again and everybody's like in their house. Thank you, Tully. But everybody's like, no, don't do that. So, yeah, I definitely, I wouldn't feel right doing that if you guys would, miss the stream too much. But it may be slow, so we may have to do extra tapping, unfortunately. I know it is a hassle, but it's free. And, I think, yeah. Cool. The Dog Man stories. I don't know who that person is that you're referring to. I'm assuming, is that like an author or something? Because I don't know who that is. But, let's see. Oh, okay. Having some technical difficulties. Yep, let's get the number up, guys. So how's everybody doing? Did you guys have a good Monday? I feel like I had a Monday, one of those kind of Mondays. Just crappy all around. I am originally from Sandy Hook, Kentucky, but I don't live there anymore. I live in central Kentucky now. One of these days I plan on moving back to the woods, though, in eastern Kentucky. We'll see. Alright, guys, if you are new here, we do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories, which is kind of just weird stuff in general. So if you have like just a random weird story that kind of creeps you out, you can tell that one. We also will entertain a good troll story, but it has to be good, it has to be funny, and it has to be good. If you have any stories that you want to share, feel free to hit the guest box, push that little button down at the bottom with the pink and blue person, send a guest request. I will bring you up and you can tell us your spooky story. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story. That's what we do here while we gather around the holler goblin. That is strange. Pepe, 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 whatever your name is. My cat's name is Pippi, so I call her all variations of Pippi, Peppy, Pip Pip, Pee. You know, I just keep it going for as long as I possibly can. Hey, Lena. Let's see here. Yeah, so last night was really good. We had a lot of good conversation. And no, I don't go to Scarefest. I've thought about it a few times, but I've never actually committed and gone to it. I didn't know if they even still did it anymore, to be honest. I know it's Patty Starr's convention, or it used to be. I think she started it or whatever. And I've met her at like paranormal conventions and stuff, but no, I've never actually gone to it. Yeah, I don't know, Tully. I don't know if they still do it or not. I thought it kind of ended years ago, but I could be wrong. What do I know? I'm out of the loop with everything. So, yeah, don't take my word for it. Oh, so they do still have it? That's interesting. I did not know that. Caleb, I don't know if you're being serious or not, but we did have somebody tell a story one time about seeing paranormal shadows, and like they had like a really interesting experience with shadows and like figures of people on their apartment wall. It was actually it was a really neat story. I had never heard anything like it. I think we ended up getting a few other stories as time went on, that were kind of similar, but that was my first time hearing a story like that, and I thought it was pretty neat. I mean, I've heard of like Shadow Man and Hat Man and stuff like that, and I think possibly that I have like a Shadow Man encounter of my own. I mean, what it was, just kind of always say I guess it was a Shadow Man, but I'd never heard of like actual shadows becoming or being sentient or, you know, paranormal. So pretty neat, pretty interesting. Um, all right, guys, the guest box is open, and it's funny because like after midnight, you know, we always have so many people kind of lined up in the guest box that sometimes we don't get to everybody. We don't get to take all the stories, but always from like 11 to 12, I'm always like, oh, come on, somebody get up here, don't be shy. So seriously, guys, don't be shy. If you have a story, feel free. There's nothing to be nervous about. Come up and tell us. And I did see that my future best friend that I was talking about last night with the alien live stream, he is live right now. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe possibly we'll get some of the same people, or maybe that's where everybody's at. So, what kind of night do you guys think it'll be besides slow? I mean, it's probably going to be slow, but what do you think? It's going to be like another Bigfoot night? I feel like last night was kind of a Bigfoot night, as we had several Bigfoot stories. But there towards the end, we did have like just some straight up ghost stories. Um, what are we manifesting tonight? Haunted houses, you think? Aha, Black Bear is here. Hello and welcome.
Well, I got a story here for you. I was
Okay.
I'm a truck driver by profession, and here at a truck stop off of the old Route 66, and watching your live, and I just thought of a story my uncle told me years ago, and he swore it was true. I had no reason to doubt him. Uh, Being native, we really, especially in my family, where my grandfather, he was a medicine man, so we grew up around spirits. So when someone said they seen a spirit, it was never a joke or taken lightly because we grew up around it. But anyway, so my parents, they moved out to Los Angeles, and we were living in Los Angeles back in 81, about the end of the era of the hitchhiking. But people were still doing it. Uh, Anyways, my uncle, my dad's brother, who was a ranger, he was Army Ranger for some years when my dad was Marine. Anyways, he went out there with us. My dad convinced him to come out and get a job and give it a go out there. And I don't know what happened, but my uncle came in the house. He was living with us. We're trying to help him get on his feet. And he was living with us, and he came in, me and my sister. Mind you, I was in second grade at this time. My sister, I think, was probably like in fourth grade. But, anyways, we were home from school. My uncle came home early from work. He had quit or got fired, one of the two. But he came in, he was all mad, and he goes, "Tell your dad I'm out of here." And we're looking at him like, "What?" And he goes in his room, grabs his jean jacket, and so he's got his blue jeans, his blue jean jacket, and his cowboy boots. And I don't know what else. He grabbed a knife or something because he always had a knife, and stuck it in his back, lower back. And he goes, "Yeah, when your mom and dad comes home, tell them I'm out of here." And he took off. Well, later on, when mom comes home, we tell him. And my dad goes running in his room and looks around. And he goes, "Yeah, this guy, I think, took off." Well, he did. Whatever happened at work, he had it with Los Angeles. So he was like, "I'm out of here." And he took off. He went back to Oklahoma City, walking, hitchhiking. Yeah, he'd had it so bad. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gone," and took off. He took his wallet, his knife, and like whatever stuff he could put in his pocket, and yeah, left. And then he left all his stuff. I guess he knew my dad would pack his stuff and send it back to him. But yeah, he just took off. Didn't buy no bus ticket or nothing. Just, I'm gone. Jumped on the highway and started hitchhiking back to Oklahoma City. So he's going down the old Route 66 back to Oklahoma City. He gets into Arizona. So this is where the story goes. He's in Arizona. He's crossing through a reservation. He gets dropped off by a trucker at a gas station. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's the middle of the night, but it's dark. All I remember of that part of the story is it's dark. He's like, "Yeah, it was dark." And he gets dropped off at this gas station. The trucker's like, "Okay, this is where we part ways. I'm going this way to Flagstaff." And he's like, "Okay, thanks for the ride." And he said he thought about staying there for the night, Like he was just going to lean up against the wall there at the gas station, go to sleep till the morning. Because at that time, they didn't have 24-hour gas stations. Most of the gas stations, they close like 9, 10 o'clock at night. So this gas station out in the desert is closed. It's just got the lights on. And my uncle's like, nah, I'm gonna keep walking. I'm trying to get back to Oklahoma City as soon as I can. So he takes off walking, and as he's walking, and he was in good shape too, mind you. For most of his life, he was in good shape. I mean, the guy could get up and easily jog 4 or 5 miles. That's how good shape he was. So walking a few miles really wasn't nothing to him. He's like, I'll just take off walking. And even though it's night, it's dark, there's no lights on the highway, he's just following the highway, right? So he's walking, and here comes this car with the headlights coming towards him, and it's going the opposite way. So he doesn't stick out his thumb or nothing. He just keeps walking. Well, he says this car kind of veers towards him, and he's looking. He's like, is this car coming right at me? And he dives off the side of the road, and this car drives by him real quick. Zoof. And he's like, man, what's going on? This guy just tried to hit me. Then he gets back on the road. He starts walking again. And a little while longer, here comes another one. And it does the same thing. It veers into him, and he dives off the road. And the car goes by. Zoof. And this time he's looking, and he don't see no no tail lights, the red lights. He don't see no tail lights. He just sees the headlights going down the road. And he's like, that's weird. He's like, that's twice, like somebody's tried to hit me. He says at that point, he started getting a funny feeling, an eerie feeling, like something bad was happening. So he says a prayer, and he starts walking again. A ways down the road, another pair of headlights starts coming towards him. And he's watching it this time. He's like, I'm not trying to get run over or nothing. I'm watching this. So he watches it, and it doesn't do anything. It just goes past him. But he was saying when it went past him, all he seen was lights. He didn't see no vehicle. He just seen lights. Car lights go past him. And of course, we all grew up with ghost stories of ghost cars. Matter of fact, my family, we used to live off of the old Route 66. And my dad would always say that's a haunted highway because so many people died along that highway. Especially during the Depression, people used to kill and rob people along the highway, all the way from Oklahoma to California. Well, he starts thinking that, he told us. He's like, I think these are ghost cars coming down here. Well, he's praying again. He says another prayer. And it's like out of nowhere, a truck pulls up, a pickup truck pulls up beside him. And he didn't hear it come up or nothing coming down the road or nothing. And he's out here in the desert. But this pickup truck pulls up beside him and says his name. Which at the time, my uncle's he's freaked out, right? He's scared, kind of scared. And this guy opens the door and says, "Hey, so-and-so, I heard you need a ride." And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "You going to Oklahoma City, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Get in." He said, "You don't want to be walking along this highway at night at this time." So my uncle gets in. He shuts the door and he goes, "You don't mind if I smoke, do you?" And he's like, "No, go ahead." So my uncle, he smokes a cigarette because he's kind of freaked out, right? All this happening 3 times. Cars went by him. 2 tried to hit him. And each one, he started thinking about it. And he's like, he'd never seen a vehicle. He just heard an engine and seen lights, but he never seen a vehicle. And none of them had tail lights. And so he's like, this is just creepy, man. Well, as he's sitting in here in this pickup with this guy going down the highway, he never looked at this guy, he said. For some reason, he never turned his head and looked at him. He was just looking down the highway and smoking this cigarette. And then he flicked the cigarette out the window and he said he got real tired. And so he just leaned up against the window, went to sleep. Well, when he woke up, this guy woke him up and said, "Hey, we're here." He says, "What?" He goes, "Yeah." And he noticed the sun's coming up. It isn't up yet, but it's coming up. It's daylight, or daybreak, I should say. And the light's there. And the guy says, "Here, I'm going to drop you off here." He said, "I got to go back." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "You can catch a ride on in from here on out." He said, "I'll drop you off here." And he dropped him off at Lawton, which is a town just outside of Oklahoma City, a little ways outside of Oklahoma City. But he dropped him off at Lawton. And, well, of course, my uncle, he knew where he was then. He's like, "Oh, this is Lawton. Okay, yeah, I can call my mom, my grandmother, his mother, but my grandmother." He's like, "I'm going to call my mother and have her come pick me up." Because at that time, he's like, "Yeah, I don't even want to be walking anymore. This has just been freaky." But the guy dropped him off at the gas station right outside of Lawton, city limits. There was old Phillips there. He said he dropped him off. And he thought, "I'm going to pay this guy for giving me a ride." And he turned, reached in his pocket, because he always carried his wallet in his front pocket. And when he turned around, there was no car. And there was nobody there. It was like probably like 5 a.m. or something like that. The sun is just starting to come up. And it's empty highway. Nobody's there. So he got on the phone, payphone, called my grandmother to come pick him up. Said, "Hey, I'm at this Phillips outside of Lawton. Come pick me up." And she said, "Oh, okay, good." She said, "I'm coming." So she come picked him up and took him on into Oklahoma City, took her to her house. On the way there, she said, "I had a horrible dream last night." Oh, let me tell you something. My dad's mother, my grandmother, on my dad's side, she was what we used to call a seer. She would have dreams and they would come true. And when she was younger, people used to pay her to have dreams of what would happen. Like, should my daughter marry this guy? Should my husband take this job? should we move to this town? And she would ask them, give me something personal that you have. And she would stick it underneath her pillow. And she would have visions of what they asked. And she would tell them, and it would come true. Like I said, she did this through her teens and to her 20s. Then she stopped doing it. Some things happened, but yeah, she used to have dreams and they would come true. But she says, I had a dream last night that some demons were trying to kill you. And he says, what? And she goes, yeah. She said, I had a dream that 3 demons tried to kill you last night. And I prayed that God would send an angel to protect you. And he says, really? And she said, yeah. I said, I'm glad you made it home. And then he told her what happened. And he only ever told us that story twice. But yeah, that happened on Route 66.
I just had a feeling that it was going to be a ghost car that was trying to kind of run him over. I knew before you even said it was going to be a ghost car. The other part I didn't see coming, but that's really cool. I would love to experience something like that. We have a lot of stories here in Kentucky about ghost cars, and I don't think I've ever experienced one, but I would love to. It sounds really enthralling, I guess. Exciting. But well, we appreciate you so much for coming up and sharing that with us. That was really interesting and really spooky.
Yeah, when he told us that, I never forgot that. Matter of fact, we drove that route a couple of times, my family with him, and he would always say, when we got to New Mexico or Nevada, be sure and gas up because we're not stopping in Arizona.
Yeah, yeah,
For the life
definitely
of
a
me,
good
he
idea.
never stopped in Arizona on that highway ever again, as far as I know.
Yep, I don't blame him one bit. Well, thank you so much, Black Bear, for coming back tonight and sharing another story with us. Really appreciate it.
All right. Good night.
We'll see you later. Thanks. All right, guys, tap the screen. We had somebody waiting. Bright side. Also, just for the people in the comments who are being impatient and being a bunch of fresh mouths. I like that when Judge Judy calls people fresh mouth. If you came here to be a fresh mouth, I mean, you can just go. Like, you don't even have to stay. This is a storytelling community, though. So that's literally what we do here. We tell stories. And if you're too impatient to listen to stories, it sounds like a you problem, you know? Hello, welcome.
Hi, how are you? I've been on here before and talked with you about stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
cool.
Go ahead. I sent you an email directly. I thought maybe you might want to put this picture up on your screen if you can do that. I don't know how to do that with I've not done that before, so I don't know how to do it. Um,
Yeah, I can't do it while I'm live. Unfortunately, since I've already gone live right now. But you said you sent it to my email.
I did.
Yeah, let me sign in here. Um,
I mean, I can start telling you about the story. Once you look
yeah,
at it, you'll probably go, wow, but about 3 weeks ago, I live here in the Ozarks down in Branson, Missouri. Have you ever heard of that before?
yeah,
Branson, Missouri. Okay, so I live in the Ozarks. I live down by the lake area, and my husband and I were sitting by the fire pit, and it was a beautiful night. It was about 55, 60 degrees outside, and the fire was burning bright. And we were listening to a little bit of music on my iPhone, and we were getting thirsty. So I had my husband run in and grab us something to drink. Well, while I was sitting there, I thought I got this really big urge to take a picture into the woods. And so I went ahead and I took this picture into the woods. And, I didn't think about it. I got in the house later on. I was just scrolling through my pictures. And lo and behold, I captured something. And to me, I've never personally seen one, but I believe it was some sort of cryptid, probably Bigfoot, Sasquatch, but there's not just one, there's several in the pictures. And I know that you're a paranormal person, and the reason why I emailed it to you is because I wanted you to take a look at it, and I wanted your view, and I was thinking maybe I have a TikTok, of course, and I thought about putting it on there. The only thing I'm having kind of discretion about is there's a creator that is very, very big into Bigfoot, and I already emailed him some of these pictures. And he told me he has some kind of a relationship with them. I know it sounds bizarre, but he has actually talked to these beings before, and he says that they want to be left alone, that they've been here for 300,000 years. They are a interdimensional being that survive with us here on Earth, and they come in and out of our dimension. And for some odd reason that night, I just got this really weird feeling, took the picture, and there we go. So are you seeing what I sent you?
Yeah, I can absolutely see it. I'll tell you what, sometimes we do here, if you want, you can turn on your camera and I will expand your screen so that everybody can see it. And like if you can point your camera at another device where you have the picture or something, that would allow you to share it if you want to try to do that.
Oh,
But I'm not able to pull it up since I'm already on.
well, shoot. I'm not in a computer where I have really good Wi-Fi, or I'd pull it up on my computer and then, shoot my camera to that direction. Um, I don't
You can
know.
also, another thing you can do is set it as like the green screen background, like I have mine, and then just tilt your phone to where it's not like showing you, and that'll also allow everybody to see it. You'd have to turn your camera on still, but you
Um,
could do it that way.
Now I'm in the dark. Will it make a difference if I'm in the dark?
No, it should be fine. That
Okay,
should
because
be fine
I'm
actually.
I'm just laying here in bed, so hold on, I'm gonna try it. I've never
Okay.
done this before, so just bear with me. So I press the camera. Okay, and then I'm not sure which green screen I need to do. Let me just press one of them, see if that'll get me somewhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little bit difficult to find sometimes, but there's like a green screen background filter that you can use here on TikTok.
Okay, so I've got it on my end. Now, how do I share it to you guys?
So basically, what you'll do is pull up that green screen background, and when it
Uh-huh.
asks you to choose a picture, you're going to choose the picture that you want to share with us.
And then
And
save. Okay. Maybe
um,
maybe that's what it's wanting me to do.
there we go. Okay, give me just a second and I'll expand your window. There you go. Everybody can see now.
Okay. That's what I got. There's actually that being that's sitting there in the middle, and then there's another taller one back behind that's the darker individual. And then down at the very bottom, it looks like maybe a childlike cryptid. I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff going on in this picture. Um, I don't know. It's bizarre. I just kind of wanted to know other people's thoughts too.
All right, chat. What do you guys think? Weigh in the comments.
What I'm seeing is, as you can see, there's a big arm there that looks very muscular. I know the chat, the words are going and you can't see his legs and stuff, but then there's the pointy pointy head. Um, it's pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool, and I've been wanting to share, this on some of the sites that and creators that I follow. Um, I don't know what to think.
Looks
I
like the
guess
comments are coming in on it now.
I kind of have a history, and I've been on here and told some stories of my haunted house and stuff, but back in the 1990s, whenever the digital era was coming out with their digital cameras, when I first got my digital camera, I started going crazy with pictures. And when I was in my haunted house, I got all sorts of stuff. I mean, nothing quite like this, but orbs, vortexes, apparitions, the little grays, I'd get some of them. So this has been back in the 1990s, and I just kind of was overwhelmed, and it freaked me out a little bit because I'm a normal person. And so I kind of laid low from the paranormal for a while, but it's always intrigued me. I've always felt like I've had some kind of connection to spiritual stuff. And so I did work in the medical field for 32 years. I have a lot of near-death experiences where people were right about dying, and then they'd say stuff. And, my life has just been pretty interesting, but I don't know what to think of this. I mean, are they trying to show themselves to us? That's what I'm thinking. Um, why now? Why are they, I don't know.
So this area where you said you captured this at, is this a place that you live near or vacation to, or?
I do. I live near it. I lived in a lake. I was told by this other creator that they love mountains, hills, caves, water. They're really crystals. They're drawn to crystals because that's their energy and power. Um, I don't know. He just kind of opened up a lot of, things that I was curious about. And I'm like, well, why would they why would they want us to see them? Why would they want me to see them on my iPhone taking a picture? Something prompt me to take a picture. So, if you're in the paranormal field, I have to explain this to people. Since I live in a haunted house, I took a lot of pictures. We're pretty good about seeing stuff. A lot of people look at a photo and they'll go, "Really? No, what do you see?" No, I don't see that, but I don't know. I've asked most of my family and they're like, "Yeah, I see it." I see them. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. It's just really interesting.
So my suggestion would be, if it's at all possible, maybe try to put up a trail cam. And I tend to always tell people this, but I think that's really the best first thing you can do if you think you have, like, some type of Bigfoot activity, or, any type of cryptid activity, is put up a trail cam in the area and see if you're able to catch anything. And I do always kind of give the caveat to that I think these creatures, if they're wild animals, they probably have heightened senses like, any other wild animal. So I would suggest maybe putting some cover scent on the camera before you place it, or like when you place it in the woods, and that way they won't detect like a human smell coming off of it. Um, that
Yeah,
would probably be the best thing to do, I think, just to see if you can capture anything else and kind of go from there. Now, I know that and this is my unsolicited hot take here on Bigfoot, and I know pretty much everybody disagrees with this, but this is what I think about Bigfoot, and I've been in the cryptid community for a long time. I know a lot of cryptid hunters, and I've dabbled in it myself. I think Bigfoot, honestly, I don't think there's anything paranormal about Bigfoot. I think that it's an undiscovered American primate. It's a North American primate. I know a lot of people think that it's, supernatural in some way, but I think that it's more realistic to look at it as, the same way like with silverback gorillas. At one point in time, they were a cryptid. People didn't believe they existed. I think kangaroos and other types of strange animals out there. At one point, they were cryptids because people would see them and then they would report on it, and then other people wouldn't believe them. So I think it's, if it's something that kind of like scares you or freaks you out, or, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think it's just an animal. Um, there are a lot of people online who kind of lean towards the woo woo when it comes to Bigfoot, but I think a lot of it has to do with what's going on with like climate change and stuff like that. I think maybe it's driving these things out of their homes. Maybe they're migrating. Maybe it's that time of the year for Bigfoot to migrate. That could be one reason you see like a spike in activity. But I don't know if anybody's really ever had like a dangerous encounter with Bigfoot. I mean, I guess some people claim that they have, but I think a lot of times when you see them, they just want to get back to hiding as fast as possible and back to safety. So I don't feel like they're too much of a threat
I
personally. So it's not something I would worry too much
I
about.
don't think so either. This creator that I talked to says that they aren't here to harm humans. I mean, if somebody comes and if they were actually physically there, and tried to harm them, they might do something, but they say no, they're not going to hurt us. So I don't know. It's just interesting that they're trying to show themselves, though, you know. Um,
Yeah, well, in this day and age where everybody's got a camera in their pocket, essentially, it's going to be harder and harder for these things to remain in the shadows. People are going to continue to catch them, most likely. I mean, if they're out there, people are going to catch them. And there really has been a big increase of sightings and like videos and photos and stuff like that since more and more people have cell phones and trail cams and CCTVs and all that type of stuff. So,
yeah. Well, I appreciate
um,
you having me up. I always enjoy listening to your lives. So,
well, we appreciate you so much for coming up and sharing that with us. And you'll have to keep us updated if you put out a trail cam. If you catch anything, come back and let us know what you found.
I sure will. All right, you guys have a
Alrighty.
good night.
Thanks. You too. All right, guys. We got our first Bigfoot story of the night. Everybody tap the screen, spam the comments with some Bigfoot emojis. I'm gonna throw some Bigfoot emojis out there. You can do lizard people, you can do Mothman, whatever you're feeling like. I'm feeling like a Bigfoot emoji. Throw that up there. Ooh, Ollie is here. Ollie, did you see the Bigfoot picture?
I did. I did. It was really hard to tell what it was, but it was very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I was just trying to like get into my phone. I was like, how do I zoom in? How do I zoom in?
Were you able to see it like on the full screen size though?
Yes, yes. I took a screenshot. I
Okay.
was like, I'm gonna figure out how to look into this thing a little better. But yeah, it was quite interesting. Hi, Holly. I had a conversation last year with one of my friends. He's actually he's a microbiome scientist, and another one was like he has multiple backgrounds. He's a paleontologist, zoologist. Like he does everything. Hey, Harry. And the conversation, like, about just came from Jurassic Park to cryptids. Like, what if it existed? Like, what if things existed and it was out and about? Or what if, like, something like Jurassic Park or the Bigfoot was out and about? And the question is it better for us in the scientific community? Is it better for these things to come out? Because, of course, as sciencey people, you want answers, right? You want some truth. You want some solid evidence. And then the thing is, if they exist, what would humanity do, right? What would we as a people do? Let's say if it was, for example, we saw Bigfoot and we discovered him. I mean, will people go out with like a lot of weapons and go hunting for it? They existed thus far. And so,
People have already done that, actually.
like, actually went out with like weapons trying to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, probably with unsuccess, but I'm pretty sure if like the cat's fully or the ape is out of the bag, I would say in this. Um, I mean, the world governments might be wanting to get samples, and they probably might, hey, that's something different. Let's destroy it. And same thing with dinosaurs or like even prehistoric animals. Like we have, as a human race, annihilated large animals. Anything that was very much competition to us or a sport. I'm pretty sure, like, if we lived in a Jurassic Park world, we were just like all admitting that I don't think we would have a flourishing wildlife as we once did. We don't even have it now. Um, I mean, we just continue to just take whatever we want from nature. But I hope Bigfoot is smart enough to just, hey, say peekaboo and go away. Just leave a small sample but disappear.
Yeah. So I Googled it, and interestingly enough, there are a lot of animals that were famous cryptids at one point in time. Komodo dragon, a platypus. I mean, imagine trying to explain a platypus to people who've never seen a platypus and don't
Yeah.
believe that it's real. Um, a gorilla. Of course, there's the story about the silverback gorillas. Giant squids. That's one that's happened in very recent times. Because what was that, like 2010, 12, something like that? Maybe 2016, when they
Mhm.
finally found the giant squid. And before that, it was just a cryptid. Kangaroos are the ones that I always like to use as an example, because imagine that the world did not know what a kangaroo was, but you saw one and then you tried to tell people about it. Just
Yeah.
imagine how that conversation would go. And then people think that it's insane, like Bigfoot is just too outlandish. Bigfoot makes perfect sense. It makes beautiful sense. Bigfoot is a North American primate. And, there are a lot of creators I watch for like specific types of content, and I get so frustrated at them when they're always like basically crapping on Bigfoot, because it's like, what's so hard to believe about a primate? And maybe there's not very many. And I mean, because I saw something, like I didn't know how I felt about Bigfoot until I saw one. And whatever that thing was, if it wasn't a Bigfoot, I don't know what it was, but I think it was a Bigfoot. It was the biggest bipedal creature I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was like not human proportions whatsoever. So, but imagine trying to explain a kangaroo to somebody. That would be wild. And it would be difficult. Um,
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they're still like discovering some new whales and stuff like that.
yeah, I actually saw something about that the other day, that they had discovered a new type of orca that they didn't know existed.
Yeah,
So,
it shows
I
like
mean,
we're not so scientific in this world. A lot of us like, let me just do fishing and live the day-to-day life. But I mean, that's also being human. Not everybody's gonna want to think out of the box.
yeah. Yeah, I think Bigfoot is the most realistic thing that, you can possibly talk about when it comes to like a so-called paranormal discussion. But all right, guys, do we have a guest? Oh, we do. We have somebody in the box. Let's bring them up and
Hi,
see
Kim.
the story they've got. Mm, I'm gonna give it a minute to connect, because last night we had some slow connection issues, but I'm gonna just give it a minute. Okay, Kim. It looks like you're not going to connect. If you are still out there, Kim, and you want to re-request, please feel free. In the meantime, we're going to bring up this guest.
Hey,
Hello. Can you
hi
turn the
guys.
music down?
Yes, I'm turning it off and the fan off. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great, thank you. I just began to follow you when I saw your saw the page and see you live. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Can you do the spirit communicate with you? Can you communicate with the spirit at all in any kind of way? Does it talk to you in any kind of way? Will they present
No.
themselves to you in any kind of way?
I mean, I've had paranormal experiences, but no, I don't talk to spirits. Spirits don't talk to me.
Uh, mm,
Sometimes they can present to you in any kind of way. It depends.
mm,
Um, depends on your own scope of what you're seeing or what you're capable of seeing, because some people say they've seen angels in so many different forms.
mm.
It depends to the intellect and the mindset of the person itself is very individual.
As I'm telling you, what's going on with me is revealing the most amazingest things I have ever seen in my life. I ain't never seen nothing like what I'm seeing right now. And it's time. It's time. We're gonna have to connect with the right people. I don't know, but you may be. I don't know. I'm gonna go live. I just don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I think it's gonna do it soon. I may do it today. I don't know, but if I do it, I'm gonna ask everyone in this world that's listening, that's in here, anywhere we can get. This needs to go immediately. It's that powerful. It's that powerful. I mean it that powerful. It's the
So
time of
do you have like a paranormal encounter or experience or
all the
something? Because we
all
usually
the
do
time.
storytelling here.
All
So
the
is there a
time.
story you want to tell us?
I'll tell you a story of how what began to happen to me happened to me, and how I am the way I am now. Is that okay?
Yeah, as long as
Essentially,
it's one of these topics, yeah, we'd love to hear it.
I don't know if it's the topic on paranormal. I think it's definitely paranormal, but not like a Bigfoot type of thing or anything like that. It's a powerful story what happened to me. 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, I was living in New Jersey, and my family and I left New Jersey and we came to North Carolina. So almost the first 10 months being here I needed to make some money, more money. So I left and I went back up north, right? And while I was there, I was staying in my childhood neighborhood with my childhood friend on the same block that my parents and my grandparents bought a house on. And we lived 6 doors away from each other up until I was the age of 12. And then my parents bought a house into the suburbs. But anyway, while I was a little child, my grandmother, who is still alive today, she's 97 years old. She'll be 98 next month. She used to send me to the store as a youth, maybe like 6 years old. She would send me up to the corner to play a game called The Numbers. Now, The Numbers was a game that happened before and took place and is still around even before and after the lottery. So my grandmother at that time, she used to have dreams. And if she could remember any of the dreams, she would wake up and she would search out those dreams and what she had at that time called a dream book, which now I find out later in life was numerology, books on numerology and dreams or something like that, and how it works. My grandmother used to hit for the numbers so much that the people that had to pay would have to be ducking. And I went into the same store while I was there every day to get coffee and cigarettes. Well, this particular day that I went in the store, it was on the 18th. It was the Saturday of 2021. 1 and 8 equals 9. Numbers do not go higher than 9. I entered the store at 9 o'clock in the morning. There were 2 people hanging out hustling. Besides that, the workers, there was probably about 3 or 4. I went up to the counter and I asked them for my regular coffee, large coffee, light and sweet, pack of cigarettes at the time when I smoked cigarettes. They put the cigarettes on the counter and they turned to go and make the coffee. When that happened, I leaned against the register, waiting, on his return. When I did that, they said that I went into a trance and that I started speaking in tongues in a way that no one has, they had never heard anything like what had happened. And it didn't went on for a while, I think they said, but I did remember at the time, at that moment, there was a much older Spanish woman. She came into the store and she stood to the right side of to me, facing the counter. And all I could remember her saying was, "Tell me more about those numbers, baby. Tell me more about the numbers." To make a long story short, when I came to and it was time to grab the coffee and leave, the store was packed. It was full of people, but not one person said anything. They didn't say, "Yo, can you please hurry up? We gotta get out of here." Nobody said nothing. When I grabbed the coffee off that counter and I turned to walk away, people, my legs were so heavy. I promise you I had to drag them out the store. And from that moment in time, I have not been able to see anything but numbers, letters, and music, vibration, and sound. I have never been able to see the things that I am seeing. I am 53 years old, and the last thing I would do is come on here to entertain somebody for my pleasure. This is much beyond me. I'm 53 years old. I've never been that wise. I don't even think that I was ever wise at all. I think that I was okay. I think that I could have had potential to be maybe a genius or something, but I never had an interest in school. I never had an interest in learning math, any of that. Nothing. I never wanted to do with any of it, right? I don't know why. And then my parents forced Christianity onto me, and that changed my life because I wanted to reject it, and I rejected it, and I continued to reject it, and I reject it to this day. And there was a reason for it, and I found out why. My life, I went through a living hell, people. For more than 30-something years, I went through hell. Because when my parents forced this religion on me, I chose to go against it. So I went to a library in a town that I used to live in back in the time when my parents moved us. And I took out 5 books when I was inside that library. And this was the year of 1980. Now I'm going back further a step. This is when I was introduced to this world that I'm in right now. So when I got those books back to the house, these books were from old days. We're talking some of them, no cover, no nothing, probably late 1800s, early 1900s, books around in that area. They would teach you how to do things, build things from nothing, from scratch, everything, right? And
we call that conjuration.
Every night I would sleep with those books, one on each corner of the bed, and I would burn a candle while I sat in the middle of the bed with the one that I was given to read for the night. These books were different. They were nothing like anything I've ever read in my life. They were books, first and foremost, you could not even advance to the next chapter until one experiences it. But before that, fully. It's impossible. So there was one chapter I remember saying things like, you're going to smell the music, you're going to taste the music, you're going to feel the music all over your body, things like that. And I had to advance to that. It took some time, but I got through it. And make a long story short, this thing that I began to do every day when I got home from work, my mother, it began to scare my mother real bad because I began to see things way before they would happen. And when I tell y'all, I would see it plain as day. I would see it plain as day. And my mother, she got so scared that she waited till I went to work one day. I was only like 19. She waited until I went. She waited until I went to work. And she went in my room in search of how and where this is coming from. And she discovered those books and she destroyed them. And that is when the 30 some odd years of my life of hell began. Because she should have never closed the door. But she thought she was doing the right thing, but she wasn't. What she did what she thought was right, but what she thought was right was the very wrong thing that she should have never have done. Because now it's back and it's stronger than ever, you know? And they know, she know. So far, the spirit that's contacting me has led me to the graveyard night. Whenever it calls me, I am going. There is nothing that's going to stop me when I get there. It's going to snatch. You have to obey what the spirit tells you. When it tells you what to do, you must listen. Because if you don't, there are serious consequences to pay. And there are a serious consequence to pay right now. And these people that are in contact with me, boy, do they want answers. And I'm telling you, and they want answers, people. Spirit is not playing. It wants and demands answers. It wants the world to know something, and I gotta get to it. I'm hoping. I believe, people, what's gonna happen now, this is gonna be the first time, the very first time that there has ever been a time for all people to come together.
I would like to know, just off the top of your head by any chance, do you know the name of this particular spirit that you're discussing?
Almighty. All Almighty. That's what it is. All Almighty. Everything about it is almighty. All about it. It's so powerful. It keeps me going in circles. I'm going in circles right now. I've been on route since you took me in. I've been en route. I'm walking in a circle right now. I can't stop. And it continues to talk to me. So every time I go in circles.
Almighty is not a name. I would say that your best bet in order to take command of this particular spirit is to actually understand and demand its name.
Oh, I have his name. I told you his name. His name is O, God. God is the number 0. God is the letter O. God is the music note, the whole note. And that's where they got the Holy Ghost from. See, there is nothing in this world. There's nothing in this world. There's nothing in this world. Everything that resembles the sun.
Guess. Just let Druid speak, because he's very knowledgeable on this topic.
Okay.
And we've listened to you. We've let you speak.
I'm quiet.
So
I'm just
give
inquiring.
Druid.
I'm just trying to find.
I'm quiet.
So you say that this particular spirit that you've been in contact with is O, which is it seems as though you have kind of like this correlation to biblical context when you reference this spirit, but you also were saying something about it being negative. Is that what you were referencing? Is the fact that you had been using occultic knowledge to acquire about that?
This is no negative spirit that I'm in contact with. No, absolutely not. This is a.
Do you know that for a fact?
I know for a fact it is. I have no question of a doubt in my mind about what it's talking about.
It does sound like a negative entity.
Yeah.
If what you're experiencing, the way that I'm understanding it, it sounds very negative and very not good.
I hear you. But you know what? I think that everyone needs to hear this thing through. That's what I truly believe. I think that the world needs to hear it through. And I think that you will think a lot different on the day that happens. It's that powerful, yeah. It's really not.
So
This
basically, what I'm getting from your story is that you stepped away from Christianity, stepped away from the church, and then got into some
yes.
type of
I had to get
occultic
lost.
books.
I had to get lost. No. I don't read anything. Let me go back. I do not read a thing. The spirit does not allow me to read anything anymore. You see, what happened to me is I had to get lost. And anyone that wants to find their way, that's what I suggest you do too as well. And to stay lost.
Oh,
Once you
I'm not
lost,
lost. Trust me.
well, then you'll never find the way. Well, people that are lost, people that are not lost don't
Hold
find their
on,
way.
hold on.
Me.
Okay, so by that definition, okay, I have found my way, and it may not be the way that you perceive it
No,
to
I'm
be,
not.
but I have most certainly found my way.
Okay. I got you.
See,
I hear
the issue that I have is okay. So I'm
The issue
trying to
that-
kind of piece together what your story is
Okay.
explaining because
Okay, here's what I'm
I've been
explaining.
listening, but it's
You
kind of
say- you
hard
say-
to differentiate
say-
between the
Okay. You say that it's evil, right? See, well, this is the thing. You can't get to this place until the day we begin to take our minds off ourselves. You understand? See, our minds have to go somewhere else in order to do this. And it can't be for you, because what I'm doing is not for me. You understand? I was invited to do what it is that I'm called to do right now. You know, I was given this permission and granted this permission. This is not about me. This is for something much more far greater than I could ever even begin to understand. It took me all of this time to really get where it is.
So you didn't have because I remember you saying something about these books, these old books from the
All those
1800s.
books that I haven't seen again since my mother disposed of them, brother.
Okay, but you said that you
I said I
read
was
these
cursed for
books?
over 30-something years. Oh, for 30-something years, I was cursed like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
when
so you were cursed by what?
I was cursed by something very evil. I mean, powerful. For 30-something years. My mother and my dad were pastors. My dad passed away in '09. My mother's still a pastor, but she just doesn't practice. My mother's sister was a pastor. She's still a pastor. My whole family is pretty much a house of pastors.
So what is your particular spiritual faith? Like what is your beliefs?
I mean,
Yes.
and, well, up until 3 years ago, when I told you the story, it began, I tried to live what my parents tried to teach me, to try to get these things away from me. But every time I would say those things and go to near those churches or anything like that, they seemed to get stronger and stronger. And I just could not understand it. And then one day, boy, the day that it hit me, I could not believe it. I was like, holy smokes. People, if you told me just 2 years ago, if you told me, if you even asked me what numerology was, I couldn't tell you what it was. That's how unwise I was at the time I told you I was. And I wasn't kidding you, I wasn't making it up. I couldn't have told you what it was. And I'm being honest.
But that didn't really answer his reference. I was asking, so what is your current spiritual faith? Like what do you believe now? What is your religion?
Do and obey the spirit. Obey it. You have to.
I don't have to do anything
I mean,
personally.
you don't have to do anything, but let me ask you this, and sincerely. Did you care or love the people that your people before you? If you did that, did you do that? Did you love the people that were before you?
I'm a
that you
pagan.
never knew?
Ancestor worship is part of what I do. So yeah, of course.
Yes. Well, I'm telling the world right now, our people, our ancestors are relying on us right now. They need us at this time right now. And this is what this is about. And this is much deeper than you think it is. When I tell you they need us right now, I mean they are relying Their souls right now are relying on us right now to set them free.
So you consider yourself a spiritualist then? Is
I
that
don't
what I'm getting
consider
off of it?
myself a thing other than I'm going to do what the Spirit is telling me to do. I don't want to put no title on myself. I'm not going to put a title of a prophet of none. I'm not going to put a title of anything upon myself. Do you understand me? I'm going to be and do what the Spirit says. I am a doer of what the Spirit tells me to do. That's what I'm going to do. And it's made its way for me this far. I know it's going to continue to pass. And I'm just hoping that the time I do it, that it goes where it's supposed to go. But I can tell you one, if you see it, please join in, because it's something you may not
Okay,
ever
that's the question I was really kind of wondering. Happy referenced is what spirit, because you cannot be entirely sure that the spirit that you're listening to has a positive outcome or a negative outcome just because you feel compelled to follow
Hey,
it.
listen, brother. Listen to what I'm saying to you. First and foremost, let me explain this to you before I go any further. There is no power in this world, right, that can be produced without a positive and a negative side. So God and that Bible is God and the devil, both at the same. Both are the same, because no power could be
You
produced
believe in
without it.
that?
You understand me? So listen, if you want to tell me that I'm not making sense, I'll ask you if you have a vehicle. If you do, go outside, pop the hood of your car. You can take the positive side of the battery off or the negative and leave the other one on. It doesn't matter. You and I know you ain't going nowhere.
My
But
personal
a battery is
beliefs,
observable
we don't have
science.
a good side or a bad side, because the two are essentially one and the same. Good and evil are human concepts.
That's what you read. And that's where I disagree with you. Because you believe what you read. I no longer believe what I read. You know what I believe? The Spirit.
Oh,
And you
is
believe what you choose to. It's okay. Listen, I'm not here to knock you.
Slide into this by any chance? Because I'm not getting anywhere.
is the spirit talking to you right now?
Hold on. Every time I speak to it, or I'm in the presence of it, I promise you I hear the wind blowing through both my ears like I'm shooting to the heavens like I am doing. And I'm hearing right now at this second.
Oh,
Both,
okay. So
both
it's
ears right now are
the
ringing.
spirit is in you, huh? Like y'all are attached.
Yeah, when I tell you it's ringing right now, so loud in my ears right now, it just listen. It took me almost till 51, 52 till this started happening.
Oh,
The day that started happening, it ain't never stopped. And now it's starting to get stronger. And remember the book that I told you that my mother took from me, where it said I was going to smell the music and taste the music. And now those sounds that I'm hearing, they're trembling over my body now. I can
is
tell
it
you one.
depriving you of some
Oh, listen to
other
this. Oh,
things?
listen to this. Let me go back for 1 second.
Mhm.
My mother had moved, and she asked me to take her. After I moved her, she asked me to come by and take her grocery shopping or something like that. So I went by her house. And when I got there, the spirit began to talk to me there. When my mother got in the car, I said something to her. I told her that our ancestors were going to get at somebody the moment they died. And she said, why? And I explained to her why. I promise you, the next day, this woman died. Boy, you talking about my mother? My mother don't even want me near her house right now because of who it was that died. And how would I know what I know? How would I know? She knows.
So, guest, I'm gonna have to cut you off. Everybody in the
Thank you.
comments is lost. I'm
Okay.
confused. I don't.
Thank you
I'm
so much.
sorry. I hope
tried.
that things get better for
I
you.
tried.
It sounds like you're having a lot of
Oh,
trouble
please,
right now.
no, I'm not having no trouble, but thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for coming up.
But thank you so
Sleep
much.
well.
All right.
Good luck with that. Possessed person, supposedly. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I was like, is this a troll? Is this? I mean, because I tell
I
people,
don't.
a troll story if it's good, and it's like, well, I don't
That's what I
know.
was trying to figure out. That's why I was trying to ask questions and try to get a feel for what was going on, is so I can kind of have a better understanding of what they're going through. But when you're talking in circles, it's very hard to help somebody.
I was
Yeah,
I put my professional hat on. I was trying to evaluate. I think Sarah
Same.
I think Sarah got when I was asking some of those questions, she moved out of the camera view.
It seems to me as though this person is still very much within the the Christian mindset, and possibly still in the process of deconstructing away from that. But I've noticed that people that often are, trying to walk away from that particular upbringing, it takes a very long time for them to get out of it. That's why
yeah,
Wicca has such a hold and popular in societies, because a lot of the Wiccan traditions and whatnot are deeply rooted even in Christianity, such as the threefold law, which is the same as, do unto others as I have done unto you, for this is, love one another as I've loved you, do unto others, that kind of thing. Very popular. So it's easier for them to go from, Christianity into Wicca, because the rules are pretty much the same. You get what I'm saying with that.
yeah,
So it feels as though he's kind of at a crossroads between the two paths, and whatever this spirit is that he's talking to, I don't think it's what he thinks it is.
I mean, yeah, I can agree with you. If it was something that he messed with a while ago and Mama burned it, it could have been attached to him. And if you don't have a lot of subconscious control, some negative entities will, mask
Mhm.
themselves to come at you in a different way. However, I felt a small, um, more evaluation needed. But I think Mr. I forgot his name, but Mr. Sir should definitely see a medical professional, just in case.
yeah. That's what I was thinking actually, and I hesitate to say that to people because I feel like there's no way to say it without it coming across as condescending. So I just, but that's why I told him, like, I hope things get better for him because it sounds like he's having a hard time. So
Yeah, and that's the thing too with me, is it's like I really have to watch what I say, because I don't want to appear as though I'm, like you said, condescending or anything like that. So I try to, learn as much as I can and try to understand where the person is coming from, rather than say, I think you're making it up or something like that, because that's not the purpose of, it's to be with an open mind.
right, exactly. So we have had the most impatient guest, the guru.
Guru.
Have you guys
Yeah. Yeah.
have you guys seen Guru? Listen, Guru, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I bring you up here and you do something wild, I'm gonna screen record it and make a meme out of it. So you've been warned. Okay? I mean, you're gonna end up as an edit in the Discord if you misbehave. But I'm gonna bring you up. Normally I would not bring someone up after that many comments. All right, let's hear it. What do you got for us?
Hi, can you guys hear me all right?
Uh,
Yeah, how old are you?
I am 33 and thank you for letting me on. Sorry about all the comments, but it's it's a crazy story and I just really could use some opinions and advice on it. So let me just start by saying that when I was little, um I saw something at my house a couple times. Um my mom's a nurse. She worked night shift, and I'm the oldest sibling of 4 kids. And, I'd get everybody up and everything for school, all that stuff. But there were multiple times where I saw this girl just in a white dress, dark hair. and just saw her for a second when I was like 8, 9, 10, 11, like those years, right? And we moved out of that house, and then I started having tons of sleep paralysis, like a lot of it. And I always felt like I had some sort of connection like that, which I did not like and do not like at all. I just had this connection and could always like sense something around me, and I just always felt it, right? And so the sleep paralysis is going on a couple of years, right? And it's not every night, but you know, when it happens, it's terrifying, right? And then one night I'm falling asleep, and I'm listening to ASMR. That's like my thing to help me sleep. I'm a night owl. And my cat is with me in the room, and she's laying on the bed with me. And this was a couple years ago. But I fall asleep, and I have my computer on my lap, everything, and I just fall asleep, right? I wake up, and it felt like my legs were almost like lifted a little bit in the air, like a tiny bit. And I can still remember it like so clear. My cat's to my left. She's right next to my side. And something like licked my ear, right? Something licked my ear. And I don't know if like I like fell back to sleep or something, right? Like I told you, I was having sleep paralysis many times. And the next thing I remember is waking up in my room. It's pitch black. And in the corner of my room, there's something there, and it's chanting something it was like I have no idea what the hell it was saying, no idea. But it was like an Indian war chant, almost. Almost like an Indian war chant. I have no idea, any words, no idea, but terrifying, right? I wake up the next day, and, you know, I tell, you know, my closest friends and family, you know, because they know I've seen stuff in the past when I was little, right? And it was, of course, on my mind that whole day, right? And I work nights because, like I said, I'm a night owl. And I go to work that night, and then I come home. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning, and this is in December of like 2018. Because I can remember the Christmas trees up and everything. And I get home, and I turn on all the lights because I'm extremely freaked out from the night before. I've never had anything like that happen. Like I said, I felt a connection for years when I was little. I've seen things. I've had a bunch of sleep paralysis, but never have I ever woke up to something chanting in my room, in the corner of my room, chanting an Indian war chant. And I turn on the lights, I go in my room, and I just go down to relax and hang out. And my cat's in the room with me. Sorry, it's hard remembering this. I don't like to think about it like that. But so I'm in my room with my cat, and my cat's looking in the corner of the room that the chanting came from the night before, right? And she starts to quiver and like walk backwards as she's quivering, like walking backwards, like towards me. She's backing up because she's like seeing something in like the corner of the room, right? So I'm like, okay, like I felt it. Like I told you, I had connections. Like I felt stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm getting out of my room. And this is back when I was living with my parents. And we had a finished basement. And I walked upstairs into the living room because a Christmas tree was in there and the Christmas lights were on, right? So like I just went in there to get the hell out of my room in the basement. And this was literally like a scene out of a horror film. I heard something walk up the stairs. I could hear it coming up the stairs, and I heard it get to that second level and like walk through the kitchen, and it like came into the living room, and it was a couple feet away from me, and this fucking thing growled at me. It growled at me. And I started like bawling my eyes out. I'm completely freaking out. I had the dream the night before, and I was trying to rationalize with myself and say it was a dream, right? But now this is real time. This is all just happening. I just got home from work, and the cat sees something in my room, so I get the hell out of the room. And like I said, I heard something walking up the stairs, and heard its footstep through the kitchen into the living room, and fucking growled at me. All right, so I'm just completely freaked out, no idea, like terrified. And that's obviously a very hard thing to tell anyone, let alone alive of 100 some people. But I just really wanted to hear anything from you guys, of any type of advice or opinions on what the hell that was or could have been, or any advice. Now, I will say, since then, I moved the hell out of my parents' house that day. That was the last day I spent in there. And since then, I haven't had any experiences in my new place. Thank God. And I have felt at peace, but there are random times where I can still feel something around me. And you just know, like, it's like with you, right? Like, I felt like this thing almost like attached itself to me. Like, so yeah, that was my wild story of, I don't even know what happened, what that was, but I've never heard of anybody talking about an Indian war chant that they heard. Like, I know people, see stuff and get freaked out and whatever.
Was there where you were located when you experienced that? Was there a lot of quartz deposits that you know of?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
The reason I was asking is because quartz is known to hold in energy, and I've heard of accounts where people have experienced things that have happened in the past, like apparitions and whatnot. That was just energy that may have been contained within the quartz. Another question is, what part of the United States are you in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so it's like I'm trying to think of what tribes were in that area. Like, it's been a long time since I've studied Native American history. Shameful to say. But I'm wondering if maybe there was like where the house was built, maybe there was like a locale that had some type of sacred, sacred bearing or sacred symbolism or whatnot, like a sacred site. Maybe it was like echoes of the past. Shawnee, thank you, Jason. I mean, there's several factors into what it could possibly be. It's just a matter of getting, figuring out what the right one is. But yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could make up something like that. That's crazy. But yeah, and like I said, I've I saw stuff when I was little. And this was just one night it happened. I woke up to the chanting and everything, and went about my day. And that night I came home from work, and like I said, my cat saw something in the corner of the room, and she was terrified. She was quivering, and she was walking backwards, like to go underneath the bed, like she saw something. And that made me get up and get out of the room. And when I tell you, I literally heard this thing walking up the steps, it was literally a scene out of a horror film. Walked up the steps and growled at me.
Did you get a chance to see what it was that growled, or was it just like a disembodied growl?
There was nothing there. There was nothing there. And
okay,
yeah, but yeah, I'm just, this was a couple years ago, but I'm just still like, it's insane. I don't even know. Something growled at me, and something was screaming an Indian war chant. And I get you asking about a sacred burial ground and everything. But for me, in my experience, like I said, it's been going on since I'm little. I've never had anything that intense or that real, right? Um, but yeah, and I mean, I scoured online, and I was raised a Catholic, and I've never come across anybody with a similar story, and it's haunting. It's scary.
I mean, I remember when we first moved into a house that I lived in. Oh, it's been a long time. I think it's been like 20 years or so. No, it hasn't been 20 years. It's probably been about 10, 15 years. I lived in this brick house, and I remember when we had first moved into the brick house, going towards the back of the garage, and I heard a disembodied growl myself. And I was looking around seeing if I could find anything that would have done it, and didn't find anything.
Yeah.
Later, family shared stories about things that they experienced in that house that hauntings and whatnot. So I'm with you. I don't necessarily know what it might have been. It could have been like somebody had mentioned a hellhound, but who's to say, really?
I mean, have you guys heard any story like that on here? And let me just say, people are saying in the comments ASMR wasn't there till 2015. I specifically said this was in like 2018, and I fell asleep listening to it that night. I wasn't listening to ASMR when I was a kid in the early 2000s. I'm talking about 2018, the night it happened.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Ever since you moved out, I'm sorry, Druid. Ever since you moved out, is this thing still following you?
So, like I said, I haven't really felt anything in my new house. But there are most definitely times where I can feel it. um, so it scares the hell out of me because that night happened and it got so crazy and so real with the chanting, and then this thing walking up to come get me and growl at me. Like I don't like that. That's what I don't like about it. I don't like the chanting, and I don't like that this thing, my cat saw it and she was terrified, and then I left the basement and walked up a whole floor of stairs, and this thing had to come up to growl at me. Like I don't get that. I don't like that part of it. That's scary. Like your story, you said you heard a growl somewhere, right? Well, this thing came at me, right?
Mm-hmm.
This thing came for me. It fucking walked up the stairs to growl at me, almost to be like, yeah, I am here, like, and you're gonna hear me right now, like I don't like that. And the night before,
What is your current spirituality?
well, like I said, I'm Catholic. I still am to this day. So I believe in heaven and hell and God. And can I just say too, really quick? I did glance over a very important part of that story.
Oh, okay.
That morning when it happened, I was obviously terrified, right? And I'm crying, and I'm on the couch with my dog, and he's just comforting me. We're just cuddling, and I'm trying to sleep because I worked nights, and I worked that night, and I just kept praying and just kept praying. And I got, it's so crazy because this is like I've been a Catholic my whole life, like I said, but this was the realest moment for me ever. It was the first time in my life that I actually like felt God and knew he was real. Because when I was sitting there praying and I was terrified to my core, I got the warmest and safest feeling over me, like like God came down and like hugged me and like told me I was gonna be all right. And and like I said, since that day I haven't experienced anything. I've felt things, but after I felt that, I did feel safe, and I was like, okay, this is really happening to me. It might sound crazy to others, but this is actually happening to me. So like if something goes down, I don't know, like, I'm thinking crazy horror movies, right? Like if I'm gonna get possessed or something, like if it's gonna go down like that, it's gonna go down. But at least at the end of the day, God's got my back, and I know where I'm gonna be after I leave this place. And so that was very comforting. And I did just want to say that because that to me was just a huge thing. And if you don't mind, I'd actually like to say too, when that happened, it forced me to be so scared to, leave my parents and, get out on my own. And my current roommate that I have now, when I left my house and we got our place together, their mother had died recently. And when I moved in, it was a couple months, March. So I moved in December, and then in March, their father died. And they weren't necessarily in the best spot. Like they just lost both their parents. They're heartbroken, right? Like they're just not in a good spot, right? And I don't know, just, I think we help each other out a lot. And I almost felt like, I like to put it in perspective like this. That happened to me, and it was like God's plan almost to like get me to come be with my friend who needed me, that I didn't know needed me. But like I don't know why it happened that way, the growling and the chanting and everything. For me to come be with my friend and, maybe help them through a difficult time that they may have not gotten through without me. And I might not have gotten through without them. So that's how I like to think about it. This happened for a reason. This was a plan. God put me on a path, right? And yeah, just crazy. I've actually been coming in here and listening for a little while. Not tonight, but recently, and just listening to people and see if anybody has a similar story of any kind. And I just haven't heard anything like that. And I don't know, it's just terrifying. My story is out of a horror film, so I just really wanted to hear what your guys' thoughts on it were.
Well, definitely stick around and listen to some more stories. But I do have some guests waiting. I'm going to try to get a few more people on. But thank you so much for coming up and sharing your story.
Yeah,
with
thank
us.
you for letting me on. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'd had a couple questions, but it's okay because otherwise,
Yeah, we've got a lot of people. We got a lot of people backed up. We've actually lost a bunch of
Oh my God,
guests.
we're almost at 50K. Come on, keep tapping.
I'm a tapping.
Yeah, it's slow, guys. I mean, but it picks up. It always picks up at midnight, but it's been pretty slow. Okay, we just lost somebody else. Real quick before I bring out the next guest, I do want to say, Mr. Midnight, are you still here by any chance?
I know I've been watching him too.
I've got to get Mr. Midnight to come up and join the panel for commentary, because he has been I've been over here rolling and laughing just at his comments, and it's so distracting, and I hate to do that. I try not to get too absorbed in the comments on the streams, but Mr. Midnight, do you want to do you want to come up and hang out with us? Because I feel like your commentary is comedic gold, honestly.
I mean, the fact that he said, that's it, what about the white dress girl and who licked his ear?
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Mr. Midnight is on the ball, guys. Listen, he's clocking every bit of it.
He's got some good sarcasm. I'll give him that. Absolutely.
Keep the comments coming, Mr. Midnight. All right, I'm gonna bring up the next guest. We lost another one.
No.
I think this one's been waiting for a while. Hello, welcome.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Not too bad.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm actually here with my little girl right now. She's curious about this kind of stuff right now. We're not going to mention her name, but we were watching a lot of this stuff tonight, and we do a lot of this kind of stuff. So we were just I just kind of wanted to share a story that's kind of been following me since I was a child a little bit. If you guys want to hear it.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
for sure.
Yes, of course.
So, my mother passed when I was in kindergarten. Um, um, it's happened a long time ago when I was a kid, and I was dealing with all this with a sibling. I had my sister. We're about 10 months apart, and throughout that period, and my dad was in the military a lot, so he would travel and do things like that. And one thing that was kind of helpful is that we had a grandmother in California, my mother's mother, and we would go visit her a lot. And she was really religious, really. We kind of grew up Protestant, things like that. Which and I know, and we knew a lot. Me being Hispanic, just if any other Hispanics are out there, a lot of them are very Catholic drawn, as Hispanics in California. Just that was kind of the thing. Like, as far as I know, I'm not just trying to like put out a thing there, but it was my grandma was very Catholic. All my family was Catholic, and it was kind of like my Protestant growing up was just very Protestant way of thinking was very just kind of like go to church, do your thing, whatever. Catholicism had a lot more to do with like the meaning of things, spiritual part of the side of the things and stuff like that were like talking about ghosts, things like that. And I'm sure the Protestant religion had the same thing. And I'm kind of going off into a tangent right here, but Catholicism was very like open to that. And my grandmother always wanted to open that side of life to me because she was really into like energy, candles. She even got into a lot of using oils, praying to saints, things like that. And so I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Grandma does things different than us. But my grandma, we had a very close relationship. And I found out later when she ended up passing that I was the closest to her in the family. But she had I'm just going to get into the story because I apologize. I'm just kind of rambling because I'm very nervous. I don't really talk about this story very
Oh,
much. But
You're fine.
actually, give me just 1 second. Let me just interrupt you for a second, guest. I'm
Sure, go ahead.
sorry. For the last guest that was here, you're completely misconstruing what I said. I said that I was laughing at Mr. Midnight's jokes and I invited him to come up on the panel because I feel like he's a very quick-witted person and very interesting. It had nothing to do with you. Mr. Midnight has been here for quite some time throughout the stream and I've been laughing at his jokes all night. So I just want to clear that up because I see this person, the guru, is still commenting over and over. And I don't want you to like go in the comments and make people think that I'm laughing at my guest because I'm not. I'm laughing at a commenter. Okay, so just hopefully
It
that's
was,
clear.
it was literally just what Mr. Midnight had said, that the way that he had worded it was comical. It had nothing whatsoever to do with the actual story itself.
Right, and Midnight has
everybody
been
was
here.
very engaged in the story. I didn't
Yeah.
actually hear the whole story, but like the commentary afterwards, like everybody was really engaged, and like we kind of caught on to Mr. Midnight a little bit, and he was just trying to bring a comical version to it. But talking about this kind of stuff like brings a lot of nervousness and things like that because it's not something that everybody understands, and so it was appreciated in that fashion. But it was definitely, I don't feel like it was meant derogatory towards him at all because the last speaker was like, I mean, 100%. I believed everything he was saying.
Yeah,
and
same, absolutely.
and I feel like it was completely valid for him to have, and the emotions and feelings, everything he had. There was nothing comical about it at all, but it was making lighthearted of a very serious situation, which we kind of need a little bit, I feel. But
Absolutely.
Right, the commenters are just having a good time, and that's what the stream's supposed to be about.
yeah,
So
and
I
there's
just
gonna
want to clear
be
that up.
people that
But
mock
guess,
it
go
too, but
ahead
that's not the
and
case. That was it. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead and share your story with us.
So just to get out of all what I was talking about, because I'm going to go into a rabbit hole, but my grandmother, when I was really young, it was in Tuolumne, California. It was a really small town, and we go visit my grandmother for the whole summer, and my grandmother used to talk to me a lot about my mom and her, seeing my mom. Like I said, she passed, and like seeing her in dreams, and there's times where she would feel like hey, I've seen her here, I've seen her whatever. And it kind of bothered me that she would talk like that because I was in an elementary school age, and I'm like, Is grandma tripping? What's grandma's tripping about? She's tripping about whatever she saw, but I remember really late at night one time, my grandma was in sleeping in the guest room because me and my sister would like to sleep in her bedroom because she had the big bed. And I went to the restroom, which was next to the guest room, and I heard my grandma speaking really fast in Spanish and really loud. And my Spanish is very broken, what I understand. And I went to open the door, and I remember walking to the door, and I remember this as a child, that um, there was air coming from underneath the door. There was probably over an inch and a half gap in between the doors. It was a very old house, and the air coming out of it was extremely cold, like freezing cold. And my grandma didn't use AC. She didn't have a lot of income. She didn't have a lot of the ability to spend on AC. It was all swamp coolers back then, and it was like extremely cold. And I ended up trying to open my grandma's door, and she yelled at me to keep the door closed, and I did. And she just kept talking in Spanish to somebody, and I got really mad that she wouldn't let me in there. So I kind of just sat there until she ended up opening the door. She let me sleep with her in the room. She's like, "I'm going to talk to you tomorrow morning," and we talked to her. She's like, try to avoid the situation, but I kept asking her who she was talking to, and eventually, after me just kind of whining about it all day, my grandma just says, "Well, let me talk to you away from your sister." And she ended up telling me, she's like, "I have a girl," and my grandma's English is very bad, and my Spanish was very bad. So our communication was it wasn't, well, my grandma's English wasn't horrible, but it just wasn't the best. And she explained to me that there was a girl that would come to her and she says, she opens her hands to me and she opens her mouth, and she's waiting for me to help her with something. I don't know what she's saying. She says, "I've tried Spanish. I tried talking to her in Spanish. I tried talking to her in English, and she never says anything to me. She just keeps putting her hand down and then puts her hands up and puts her hands down and keeps opening her mouth." And I didn't know what she was saying, but as a little kid, you kind of you take it extremely literal. Like, there's a girl in my grandma's room. Like, what's going on? And it just kind of creeped me out. And so, but I was just kind of like, whatever. And I kind of blew it off as a kid, as, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, whatever. But I just kind of blew it off a little bit. But my grandma, we ended up talking about it about 4 or 5 years later on. I'm a little bit older now at the time. And she mentioned the same thing. Like, "Hey, mijo, I just want to let you know that I feel like this girl has something to do with your mom, and she might come, she might try to talk to you, she might try to reach out to you." I said, "Grandma, I kind of remember what you were talking about, but I was like, I don't really believe in that stuff so much. Like, I don't know, like, whatever you saw, Grandma, maybe you were sleeping." And I was kind of thinking maybe my grandma had a little bit of dementia, but she didn't. She wasn't diagnosed with anything like that, and she ended up passing with heart issues and everything. And I kind of just blew it off, but it carried on that memory, and I could not forget it from my childhood to my teen years when she brought it up again the second time. And then when I was about 21 years old, and I shared a room with my friend Clara, and an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, and we had a little party at the house, and everybody's like kind of passed out in the living room, whatever, doing their thing. And I woke up extremely cold, and I'm like 20, 21 years old at this time. And we had other girls, boys in the house, whatever, kind of separated the thing, separated in different rooms, blah, blah, blah. And I woke up, and there was this girl standing over me exactly the way my grandmother explained her to me from my childhood, from my teen years. And somehow I recognized and knew exactly who it was. I don't know how. I just somehow knew exactly who it was, not talking about it after years after my grandmother passed away. And I looked at her, and she did exactly what my grandmother explained. And I'm seeing it very vividly right now, talking about it in front of my little girl. And I said, what do you need?" And I'm freaking out because I'm looking at my buddy who's slept on the floor, and I'm trying to wake him up at the same time because I'm seeing something while there's other people in the room. And I said, what do you need? What's up? And I'm trying to talk to her, and she puts her hands out to me and opens her mouth, and then closes her mouth and pulls her hands back to her chest, opens her hands back out to me, and opens her mouth again. And it just, and she's like not reaching out for me to grab her hand, but it's like she's trying to explain stuff to me, but I don't hear anything but like a really hum and like a not so much a hum, but like a I don't know how to explain it. Like she's trying to say something, but like she's not enunciating anything. She's not speaking a language. It's just like a sound, and it freaked me out. I ended up waking up my buddy Jeremy that was sleeping next to me. Jeremy wakes up. He's like, "What are you talking about?" Everything's completely gone. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I've been drinking. I passed out. We woke up the next morning. I was completely freaked out. But the temperature in the room changed within like, I wouldn't say within seconds, but within like a minute or two of it happening. It went back to normal. And I was kind of whatever. And I passed out. I woke up. And my buddy Jeremy was laughing at me in the morning. He's like, dude, you were tripping last night. And he explained the entire situation to me. He goes, when you were trying to wake me up, he goes, bro, I was literally watching you talk to nothing. And it tripped me out. So I don't want to get into it too much with that part of it. But like Jeremy, like the worst, the other parts of it that happened was it kind of followed me, not to get too much into detail, but like it followed me later on. I moved to another place about a couple years later. I moved to another place with a buddy for just a couple of months because she was looking for a place. I was getting ready to move to California. So I was like, hey, I'll rent a spot with you for a few months. And so we rented a spot for a few months. And I remember me sleeping on the couch because, like I said, I was getting ready to move back to California. I slept on a couch for a couple of months. And I remember me being woken up by someone hearing a sound of that same exact sound that I heard of somebody trying to say words without enunciating anything. And I woke up and this girl, and I'm not terrified at all. I recognize her. I know who she is, but I don't know who she is. You know what I mean? Like I recognize that this is the girl that my grandma talks about. I don't know who she is, and she's doing the exact same movements to me, and I don't know what's going on. I have very bad Spanish. I tried my best in Spanish. I tried my best in English to see what it is she needs. I tried asking her if she knows my mother. I tried doing all this. And at the same time, I feel like I'm in a dream state, but I'm very awake. So I'm just kind of like lucid dreaming, like what's going on. It happened again. Later on, I've moved back to Arizona from California. I went to culinary school, did my whole thing, came back. I'm now in my 30s at the time. I'm 41 now. In my 30s at the time, it happened again in another place that I moved into. I'm in the bathroom, and I come out of my bathroom, and I stop. And this is the only time that I was awake when it happened, not being in a sleep state, where I'm just completely awake, getting ready for bed. It's probably about 1, 2 in the morning, and she's on the other side of my room, standing there. I'm completely frozen, and she's doing the exact same motion to me, and I don't know what to do. And I open carry and everything like that. Like I was literally like kind of, I mean, I conceal carry and everything like that. I was really about to draw something because where I lived now at that time was in the mountains, and pew pews are a normal thing to own. And I literally like kind of, I drew my weapon, but I didn't aim it at anything because I recognized what was happening. And I literally just froze and just tried talking to her. And I was like in a very shaky voice, didn't know what was going on. And I'm getting a little creeped out talking about it right now. But she ended up leaving, like just literally like I didn't know what was happening, but eventually it was just over. I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't like poof, she was gone. It was just like I was in a different state of mind that just kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's super creepy, but like at no point in time did any of this happen where I felt like I was in danger. But I felt like the intensity of me trying to communicate with this person was so like sincere in my mind that like I was so upset with myself that I was not able to accomplish that communication, because I didn't know. From what my grandmother explained to me is that it was important that I try to talk to her, and I never had communication. I'm now 41 years old, and the last time that happened I was probably 2014, and I've had zero experiences since then. But I'm very disappointed in the ability, not the inability to communicate with what's happening, because it's happened since my mother passed And my grandmother, she says this has been happening since your mother passed.
Someone in the comments was asking an interesting question. They said, "How old is she when you first saw her?" And then, do you notice every time, or is there like an anniversary date? I think they had one more question. Um, how
I've
does your
never.
grandmother know that she was there to help your mother? It could have been trauma from her. Um,
My mother had a very abusive past. She was one of five sisters. Her father was a very abusive man. Not in a, like, you know what I mean. Nothing like that, but like, he was just very like verbally abusive, very physically abusive, as far as like trying to show his dominance and his whatever the hell he had to do to make himself feel like a man. But it was like nothing in that sort of way, and we all know what I'm talking about. But was just tear you down, that kind of man, like very controlling. And my mother, my grandmother, being ended up having a nervous breakdown at one point in time in her life, and my grandmother admits that there was a point in time where my mother, being the oldest of all five girls, had to take charge and kind of like help raise her sisters. So there was a very, very close um, closeness with my mother, being the oldest daughter, being the one who had to take over when my grandmother had her nervous breakdown, and then when my grandma kind of came back too and got right with things a little bit later on, recognizing that from my mother being very close. And me and my sister, we're 10 months apart. My sister's older. Me being, for some reason, I had to live with my grandma for 6 months. I still don't understand why that happened, but there were 6 months where I was a baby where I lived with my grandmother, and I still don't understand that completely. But I had to, and my aunts, when my grandma ended up passing away, they were just like, your grandma had this closeness with you, this love for you that was just, we were jealous of. And I was like, really? And they're like, you, everything you did was, your grandmother was so close to you, and she loved your sister, everything like that. So I think that closeness kind of opened that communication between whatever my grandmother was experiencing and me, that she says, I need my grandson to be a part of this somehow. And I've always been the sensitive one between me and my sister. And I think my grandmother kind of recognizes that I've been a little bit more spiritual than my sister, even at a young age. And my sister's very cold and really hard through our experiences growing up. But I've been the one that's been more open into forgiveness and, hey, let's move forward. So maybe that's part of it. As far as anniversaries are concerned, I've never really kept track of any of that, because none of this is. I was never really involved in like trying to study this so much, as it was like, yo, if that happens, let me see what's up. You know what I mean? Kind of like, let's see how this goes down. And my grandma was tripping. That's the way I kind of thought when I was older. I was like, maybe I was tripping too. I went through a lot of traumatic stuff, so maybe I was just kind of hallucinating. But when you're in your 20s and nothing has happened that make you think about your grandmother, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're experiencing exactly what your grandmother told you as a child, is what tripped me out when it first happened. And it was just kind of like nothing as far as anniversaries that I've ever really even thought about thinking about. So that's kind of interesting, but I wouldn't even know how to track that from now, because I don't even remember exactly the age I was when it happened the first time.
So,
And sorry for
you said that you were able to like see somebody that had passed on, is what you were saying?
From what I believe, that's what I'm seeing. From what my grandmother told me, she says there's a girl that talks to me. She believes it has something to do with my mom. It wasn't necessarily that she's trying to help your mom. So I think that was a little misunderstood. It wasn't she was trying to help my mom, but she says, I feel like it has something to do with your mom. And I don't know if it's my mom trying to tell me something, or this girl's trying to tell me something, or this girl needs to let us know something to help her or her loved one. I have no idea, because there's zero verbal communication. It's just sound and like emotion. I have no idea what any of it means.
Huh.
And neither did
So
my grandma.
it sounds like since you can't hear them or feel them, it sounds like you might possibly be clairsentient, or sorry, not clairvoyant, not clairsentient. I'm sorry. Yeah, clairvoyant basically meaning visual, being able to see. Um, Whereas like clairsentient is being able to feel, clairaudient is being able to hear. Um, but yeah, since you have the visual, that's my guess.
And it's like nothing really, like, what do you call it? Nothing really, how do you say, what am I trying to say? It's like nothing's happening exactly the same way. Like, so it could be like a night of drinking. It could be me coming home late from helping a friend. The last time that it happened, I was just visiting family and buddies, and I cooked them enchiladas, and then I came home and I showered and I did everything else, and then I was gonna go back out to my local bar there. I wasn't drinking or doing anything, but I was gonna go out to my local bar at the end of the night. It's literally like right next door to my house where I lived before. So I got dressed. That's why I had my sidearm on me, and I did everything. And I was completely awake, completely sober. And then boom, it hits me in the room. I was just gonna go out for like half an hour and then go to bed. Like, it was the bar is literally next door to my house. Like, within second gear, I hit my car and it's right there. So I was like, I'm just gonna take a nightcap, go to bed. But the only thing that I could say that's like consistent is that it's evening or like early morning, but I'm talking like in the like before 4 a.m. type stuff. But other than that, there's no anniversary, there's no nothing. I still don't know how to explain it, and I'm 41 now, and that hasn't happened since.
So, two things then. One, it seems like this is something you might want to try to find a way to kind of hone your abilities and, sharpen your skill with it, because if you don't use a gift, you lose it, And the other one is, did you bring enough enchiladas for the rest of the class?
I brought enough for the class that was there, but I'll be honest, there's never just enough. Give me 1 second, baby. Can you grab me a powder and a water, please?
Real quick, Cat Mama, hey, are you here for the night, or are you on break, or?
I am on break right now, so I will be on.
Oh, I think we lost her.
She might have just
Stories, I can
But
work
hey, I do want to let you guys know, though, I will like kind of get off of my little rant there. I'm kind of nervous sharing. Like, to be honest, I haven't really shared this with anybody really. It's been like one other person I've shared this with, but
This is a
you guys
safe.
are more than welcome to move forward if you guys want. I just kind of wanted to let that go out kind of a little bit, and it felt good.
Yeah, I just wanted
Making
to
me nervous.
Cat
Like, now I
Mama
feel like
up
I'm in
real quick.
experience again. So
I-
you guys do your
yeah,
thing. Thanks for letting me share.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna bring Cat Mama up real quick because I thought, yeah, your bars are kind of low. I think that's why we can't hear you too well. So you can't hang
you
out
hear
with
me?
us tonight, or no? I can't hear you that well.
Can you hear me? All right, hold on. Let me put my headphones
No,
on.
we can hear you now.
Well, Pops, I do have a wee bit of advice. If you're ever feeling, maybe not, maybe don't mess with it. But since it hasn't like come to you in a long time, but if you really want some answers, if you can go to a good, like a blanco, brujeria blanco, like go to some,
Brujeria. I'm going to tell you right now. I understand exactly what you're saying. I've got this advice before,
yeah.
but brujeria, I don't deal with it. I've just, like I said, with my background a little bit, I've been taught to leave the dead alone. Don't push buttons. Don't do things you shouldn't be doing. I've been taught that, and I've got tias that are in brujeria, and I don't. Even they tell me, they're like, don't mess around, mijo, if like it's not something you're willing to really be a part of, because it's not for the lighthearted. And I don't know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's fine and it's a hobby, but
No, it's not
tias
for
and
the
everything, it's
lighthearted.
not a hobby. It's definitely a way of life that you need to accept, and you need to take the consequences with the good. And I don't mess with it at all.
Yeah, so that was like if you really wanted, and it seems like that no, you're not ready for that. So I
No.
would just leave it alone, and if the energy comes around, try getting maybe your aunts know this, but maybe some obsidian, like you can find these like an obsidian cross or something that really can resonate with you, and get it blessed and for protection with the archangel Michael, and then just have it on you. It'll protect your energy.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I have a close relationship with God now, and I feel pretty blessed in my life. But one of the things that I just wanted to bring this up because we kind of ran into it tonight. You know, I'm interested in the supernatural because it is real. There's people that choose not to believe it, but it doesn't change the facts that this is real. There's spiritual warfare going on around us on a constant basis. Me being Christian, I choose not to reach out and necessarily like say, "Hey, where you at? Let's do this." I believe it's there. When it comes to me, it's something that I'm not in complete control of, and my history with this has proven that. I'd rather not be bothered by this. I'd rather just live a normal whatever. But one thing that I can say is that I'm never in fear when it happens that my life's in danger. Like I told you, when I had my sidearm on me, it was a point in time where it was just a reaction of, hey, somebody's in your house. But you would have that reaction if your buddy snuck up on you and like, blah, he was hiding under your bed. It's not that you're scared of your buddy. It's you're scared of the situation at a brief moment. But once I realized who it was, I didn't feel like I was in danger to where I needed to end up doing something to my wall, putting holes in a wall. But it was just the startled being startled is what freaked me out. But other than that, I don't feel nervous. Like I feel a peace with it, and in a way, I feel close to my grandmother when it happened because it was something that she said that she feels I would experience. And I don't know, she put that on me or God put that on me or whatever, but it's real. It happened. It's not something that a lot of people talk in my level of Christianity. Being a Protestant, they don't really talk about it that much, but it doesn't make it less real. Religion is man-made anyways. Nobody really completely understands what God's plan is for us. And me saying I have a Protestant background doesn't mean that that's exactly the way that I follow things. It's a very personal relationship with Jesus Christ that I have, and whatever he has in store for me, I believe is what's going to happen whether I want it to or not. So I'm going to stay open-minded. I have no fear yet, and
That's good.
I just pray that if it's something that he wants me to do to help someone that's in the past or for the future, that he'll bring me back to that state of mind with that person being whoever it is, and that everything goes well. And I just kind of trust in him and hope that it happens that way. And I really
We
do
appreciate you
that.
coming up. I do have some people waiting, so I would like to try to get a few more
Yeah, definitely.
before.
Yeah, thanks so much
before
for
we
letting
end
me
for the
share it.
night. So thanks for coming up. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Cat
Right.
Mama,
Hey,
are you with
everybody.
us or not?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I had to put the headphones in. So I'm gonna make my stories a little really quick, and I'm just gonna stay listening to the live. But I've been trying to will some paranormal activity at work because it hasn't happened in a while. But within the last 2 weeks, I had 2 call buttons go off by themselves, no one in the room. And I've been working like a lot, like back to back, and I didn't really have a decent little break or time to recuperate. So I don't know if it was because I was just tired and delirious from work, but I swear to you, I was in a patient room, and I swear I saw like this white mist come up from this patient. Now, mind you, she's alive. She's not like ready to pass or anything like that. So,
I am so sorry.
hello?
Yeah, I think Ollie was
that
eating
Ollie?
chips or something. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, so I had a little bit of a paranormal experience. and I'm gonna try and keep willing more of it. And on that note, you can drop me down, and I'll be listening to the live, and I'll see you guys next week, and I'll see you on the Discord.
Alrighty, Cat Mama. Oh, I wish she could hang out. It's not the same without Cat Mama, guys. She's one of my mods, and she's one of like the longtime viewers. We love Cat Mama. She's the best. So let's see. All right, guys, tap the screen. You know, I haven't even taken a moment at all tonight to tell you guys about the Discord. I haven't. I don't know. It's like we got busy all of a sudden. I was complaining about not having a guest at 11, and then it was like boom, boom, boom. Um, so yeah, so we have a Discord. There's a little gold star somewhere on the screen. If you hit the gold star, you get instant access to the Discord. It's a subscription to the channel. You get subscriber only videos that only subscribers can see. Right now I have 2 posted because I just now got the feature. For some reason I didn't have it before. You get access to the Discord. You get the emojis. So come and be part of our Boo crew. You know you want to. It's very cool over there at the Discord. We have a lot of fun. Also, we had some people last night subscribed and we didn't see them over at the Discord. So if you guys are having any trouble getting in, send me a message. There was one person, I don't know if Elle is here, but I think Elle subscribed last night, but we can't message you. So if you're here, nobody can send you a message. Your security settings on your page are locked down like Fort Knox. So so we can't, unfortunately, we can't send you a message, but that's kind of a weird comment. So also, let's see what else. I didn't even like plug anything last night or today. I've like completely lost my train of thought again. I do have a new video posted. If you guys want to go watch that video, check it out, leave a comment, you know, whatever, interact with it. It's getting squished a little bit by the system, so it'd be appreciated if you go and engage with it. Yeah, I think, I don't know. All right. And we still have about 45 minutes left in the show. I'm going to see, Raven is one of our regulars. I'm going to see if he wants to just hang out. Oh, no. He must have accidentally requested. Barbie has been waiting a very long time. Barbie has been waiting so long, in fact, that he has gone to sleep. Someone in the comments says, I reported you. Get in line. Lots of people do. There are no violations here, though. So, somebody block Sensei and mute. Block and mute. Tully, can you block them? Well, it's almost like it's my platform, Sensei. And I don't really even know what you're talking about to begin with. Thank you, Tully. I appreciate that.
Gotta love people like that.
Yeah, crying in the comments. I know. It's sad. Hey, welcome.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can hear you.
All right. My name is Nick. I'm 29 and I'm from Central California. I'm going to tell you guys about a story of how a ghost helped me come to terms with death and anxiety. So, when I was younger, my mom died when I was very young. And I always struggled with death and the idea of death. So, for many years, I was like anxiety, like, when am I going to die? How am I going to die? You know, how we all like go through that. Well, my grandpa has a bunch of rental properties throughout town, and he's kind of cheap. So whenever somebody moves out of a unit, he tends to fix them up himself instead of hiring like a professional. So a lot of the times he would have me go with him, and I would do like small jobs like pick up trash and, you know, mow the front lawn and things like that. Well, it just so happens that when these renters were moving out of one of the properties that we had, that the man next door died and he fell off of his roof. So at the same time, both of these properties that were next door to each other were both going up for rent. So I remember one night, me and my grandpa were loading up the truck, and we were wrapping things up for the night, and the painters that were next door had all the windows open, so you could see like exactly right through the whole house because they were trying to dry it out. So I remember I was loading up the truck, and my grandpa went to go talk to the painters because he was going to get a quote and see how much they would charge him to paint the house next door, which was our house at the time. So while he was having that conversation, I remember looking back, and I looked into the house, and I could see this human-like figure that was kind of like made of dust. I don't know if you guys ever, like, when you guys look at a window, sometimes when the sun hits it just right, you can see like all the little particles in the little sprays of sunshine. And that's what it looked like. It looked like a person, but they were made out of those little fuzzy particles. And I watched it walk from the back of this house all the way to the front of the house and up these stairs. And I remember feeling like these little hairs that I didn't know that I had in the back of my neck stick up. And I watched this thing the whole time. And I remember feeling like in a way I was scared, but also on the ride home, I remember feeling a sense of relief. Like, okay, maybe there is something after death. Maybe when you die, that's not the end of the story, you know? So, anyways, I just wanted to share that story with all of you guys, and thank you for having me. And I hope that helped somebody, whoever listened, whoever heard. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Alrighty, very cool. All right, we got through our guest list. Although Barbie fell asleep and Raven vanished. The coyotes probably got after Raven. Raven, if you're still here, come back, hang out with us on the panel. Let's see. Oh my gosh, Cat Mama. What's funny? Cat Mama, if you want to block these people, and they're talking about, there was a guy on here earlier that was just like going in circles with his story, and none of us could figure out what he was talking about. And that's the person that they're referring to. So it's hilarious, actually, that they're so upset about that, because I let that guy talk for an exorbitant amount of time. None of us could ask him questions. He just talked over us. None of us could figure out what he was talking about. And everybody in the comments was like, please kick him, get him out of here. So I did. And now 2 or 3 people are mad in the comments. So
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Back up, Sarah. We did not, or no one made any like bad treatment of anyone. The thing is, like, and I'm guessing it's because when I looked at his profile, he had like oddly like 30K something followers. I'm not just sure, but yeah. So it could be that. But I mean, to be honest, yeah, it was just a rambling. Because I
Yeah, and
asked him.
that's why I tend to immediately kick those people. But like, I'm trying to allow people to come up, and even if I don't necessarily agree with what they're talking about, I'm trying to let them come up and talk. And I see now that that was a mistake. So from now on, I guess I'll just go back to like an immediate kick for those types of stories, because this is what happens when I let those people come up here. And more than likely it was orchestrated. He probably does this to a lot of creators, because I know that happens on here. But I mean, they can cope. They can cope, whatever.
Yeah, it is the internet. Everybody has different opinions.
I know. Imagine coming on the internet and getting your feelings hurt.
Especially like that. Like, I mean, I was nice if some of my other colleagues would have heard that there would be people in white suits. That's just
Exactly.
Right.
I mean that in the nicest way. But the ringing in your ears is not always a good thing continuously.
Yeah. No,
The
that
vibes I got off of
definitely.
them were not good anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Same here. Um, all right, guys. If anybody, Cat Mama.
What is
If
well
anybody
done?
has a story that they want to share, if you're new here, we do these topics and only these topics because apparently we're not going to branch out anymore. So yeah, if you got a story, jump in the box. We've got what do we got? Like I don't know, 40 minutes left in the show tonight. Let's end on a strong note. Let's get some
That
people in
squat.
here. Let's get back to the good stuff like Bigfoot,
Right.
alien abductions, and like interesting, cool stuff like that.
Yeah, we
You
want to
can
hear
do
who in
this
here has actually been abducted by aliens.
Raise your hand if you've been abducted by aliens.
Yeah,
And
there's
in this
a
day and age, the next question is going to be, well, were they hot?
Yeah. Do you guys remember the I don't know if I should even mention this on TikTok. I'll use code language. The they can't catch us all alien event out in the desert a couple years ago.
Oh,
Guys
yeah,
remember?
yeah.
oh.
I wanted to go to that so bad. I'm not going to say the name of it because I have a feeling that it's probably not okay to talk about that on here. But what a cool event that would have been. I heard that they were like selling merch and everything.
I heard it turned into like a rave or something like that.
Yeah.
Cat Mama, that's not fair now. Now you want me craving some mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, there you go, werewolf.
Yeah, but the yeah, like wonder did you get any more information on Bat Squatch? I couldn't find it. I think that I had a couple of things. I'm gonna have to get oh man, I'm gonna still do some due diligence.
Yeah, like I said, I
Yeah.
just have the one book that has what I read yesterday in it.
Yeah, my book app, Everend. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It used to be Scribd, but now it's Everend. They have a copy of that book that you're talking about, Druid. So I
Oh,
saved
okay.
it so I can read it this week. I'm looking forward to checking that out. I love those types of books, and they have like a ton of them. And I actually do a lot of research through that type of book. So, but yeah, Bat Squatch, guys. I think I have a new favorite cryptid. I mean, Squatch, regular Squatch, will always be my favorite cryptid, obviously. But Bat Squatch is probably number 2 now.
It's like an upgrade. Like something
Yeah.
simulation gave him an upgrade and like bloop, I got wings now.
Squatch 2.0.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
at least I knew people that have actually seen it because then I could have some stories. But most
Yeah.
people just tend
Oh,
to
and
know
there's,
regular old Sasquatch.
our chief. I haven't seen Chief and Lodge.
Maybe they got captured by Bat Squatch.
Bat Squatch is out here in these streets getting everybody,
Yeah.
apparently.
Goblins.
I'm gonna do a video on Bat Squatch. I think it's so interesting. I've got to do a video on it, even though it doesn't fall into the Appalachian theme. But
I don't think so. Bat Squatch is like a furry, like probably linear, buff looking wrestler type Sasquatch with wings.
With wings.
remember, he's the Hulk Hogan of
The
the
Hulk
cryptid
Hogan.
world.
Yeah.
So as he flies over, he's like, "Hey, brother."
I would pay to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Tina Marie. I do remember that. Yeah, Lodge joined like right as we were shutting down for the night. Yeah, it's difficult, like, when it's 2 a.m. here and people join, like I can't keep going. Like I kind of having to do a little bit of a hard stop at 2 these days. Sometimes, I don't know, back in the beginning, I remember I set up one night to like 4 o'clock in the morning on here because I had so many requests and I can't do that. I can't. So that's why I always tell you guys, get here at 11 and get in the box early because hard stop at 2.
Yeah. Any spooky stories? Anyone?
Pretty lady, we start at 11. Sunday and Monday night, 11 p.m. Eastern. Who won't talk to you, Mr. Midnight?
I don't know. Him and Werewolf are chatting back and forth.
Werewolf, you're going to have to come up here and tell us a wild story of some type. Tell us, I don't know if you probably told us all of your stories already because I know you've been up here a lot, but oh, we have a guest. Let's see what this guest has for us.
Hello.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Hello.
Awesome. So I've been on here before, like once or twice, and I just wanted to start by saying, sometimes TikTok can be like the most hateful app ever, and it's like just discord and anger all the time. But like this live is usually a pretty good outlet. It's kind of like my breath of fresh air, like the reminder of the good side of TikTok. So I appreciate you guys for giving us this space as somebody who really enjoys the paranormal and cryptozoological aspects of life. And I'm actually off work tomorrow. I've been inspired by this live. I've been hanging out for a little while. I live in southeast Wisconsin, and there's a very famous cryptid out here known as the Beast of Bray Road.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, yeah, so that is, to anyone who doesn't know, a real quick synopsis, was first located in 1936 in Jefferson, Wisconsin, at St. Coletta Institute. For my history buffs, this is the St. Coletta Institute that the infamous Joe Kennedy sent his daughter Rosemary Kennedy after her failed lobotomy. And it was on the grounds of this campus that there's Indian burial mounds preserved. Sorry, Native American, pardon me, burial mounds preserved there. And at the time, he saw what looked like a 7-foot werewolf, man bear wolf thing, clawing at one of the burial mounds. And then the next night, he saw it again. And this time it uttered out some sort of neo-human language. It sounded like Gadara, which, if you know the Bible, translates to Gadarenes, which is where Jesus sent the man who was some kind of long story about a werewolf or a man being condemned. He sent him to the Gadarenes. So Gadara would be a very typical or very appropriate thing for this thing to utter. But fast forward to the late 80s and early 90s, people in southeast Wisconsin, the town of Elkhorn, were reporting a 7-foot man wolf, like the head of a German Shepherd, on a body of a wolf or a bear walking upright. And the odd thing is that it's been seen both during the day and nighttime. Hair samples have been found, to my knowledge, and they were tested. They came back as some sort of unknown canine. There's many different beliefs as to what it could be. Some people, seeing as how it was digging at a Native American burial mound, believe that it could be some sort of skinwalker, some sort of Wendigo of sorts. It could be some sort of spiritual, something conjured up of that nature. That sort of hybrid, some sort of bear, coyote, wolf hybrid that somehow hybridized itself. Nature works its miracles. Another strange belief about it is that it's actually a lot of witchcraft. And too, if you look back to the late 80s, early 90s, released by our old sheriff, John Frederickson, he released a statement claiming that there were some world-renowned Satanist occults happening here that involved members of law enforcement, high members of established communities that were coming to the Walworth County, the top 3 counties. Walworth County is actually in one of the top 3 witch practicing back in the day. So some people believe that this might have been something that was summoned by some sort of group of people or conjured by some sort of group of people as a means to protect or doom the area. So there's a lot of mystery surrounding the whole thing. There's a book on it. Linda Godfrey brought the whole thing to light. There's YouTube videos, all kinds of stuff, coverage all over it for years and years and years. But the live kind of inspired me tonight, so I'm actually on the way there right now, just to go and see if I can find and locate anything spooky. Or I've been going for quite some time in hopes to see something, hopes to hear something. I've never every investigation that I have drawn out here always tends to be inconclusive. However, every time I go optimistic and hoping. The thing about this description is it's not run of the mill weird people. These are high, white collar, blue collar, young, old, all backgrounds that report seeing this thing. And some people held off saying anything about it for the sake of being ridiculed. But there are there's a lot of backbone, and there's a lot of creepy facts that kind of push this thing and propel this thing forward into fruition. And me personally, I think that just because something can't be identified doesn't mean it's not real. I think life is fascinating, and we don't speak. We're humans, It's easy to think, we took this natural world and we're kings of it. We dominate it, but at the end of the day, we are just animals ourselves, and we need to be a little humble sometimes and take a step back and realize that things that go bump in the night are out there, and we can't identify them.
So, are you able to turn on your camera and show us the area, like where you're trying to explore at?
Yeah, let me be as safe as I possibly can here.
Oh, no, I don't mean right now, but at some point,
Oh, yeah.
like when you're able to. So
Yeah.
actually, it's funny that you bring up Dogman. I was part of a Dogman hunting team for a long time. I have a lot of crazy, ridiculous stories about this whole experience, but barring that, they filmed. Well, I also was there. We filmed an episode, like a pilot episode for a TV show up in, I can't even remember where it was. It was somewhere in like middle Ohio. We didn't do the Beast of Bray Road because that one's kind of been overdone. We were supposed to also film one out in the Redwood Forest, but we never made it that far with the show, which is a whole story in and of itself. But we do get a lot of Dogman stories here on the stream as well. Not as many as we do get them, but we don't get as many as like Bigfoot or something like that. But Dogman is a very interesting topic. It's a very strange topic. I know a lot of people in the cryptid community theorize that maybe it's some type of squatch, which some people would say that it's not. But yeah, I'm familiar with that case. I'm very familiar with it, as well as like Linda Godfrey. I know she passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
But
and that's the saddest thing, is that she was kind of the bookkeeper on this whole thing. And the saddest thing now is that I don't feel like there's anyone out there necessarily documenting new sightings. I don't think that there's anybody out there that is investigating further right now. That is really there's a guy on the farm in the area. I do not mean to take away from his investigations, his findings at all. I just find them to be a little bit, for lack of a better term, hokey. But there's a gentleman in the area named Lee who's kind of gotten his foot a little deeper in the game regarding the whole Beast of Bray Road thing. And apparently he's got some pictures, and, he claims the beast, or he's been told, however, when he moved back in the area, the beast lives on his property. Just some aspects seem a little hokey about that whole thing. But I don't ever want to take away or discredit somebody's findings and unvalidate their experience. But just from my skeptical eye there, you do got to remain skeptical in some areas. We are getting off on the freeway exit, though, because I get off on Bowers Road, which is also there's all kinds of areas. It's not specifically Bray Road. It's been seen as far out as Sugar Lake, and which is a lot farther west, like more Rock County area. But Bray Road's only about a 40-minute drive from me. I live a little bit outside the city of Milwaukee. And it's Elkhorn's about halfway between Madison, which is the state capital of Wisconsin, and Milwaukee. So very southeastern. But yeah, I've had a lot of comparisons with the Bigfoot thing as well. The only thing I see that Bigfoot tends to be a little bit more, it changes the behavior. I see that Bigfoot tends to be a little bit more evasive. And I think that this thing tends to be a little more standoffish. People report when they see the Beast of Bray Road, it's almost as if it's standing there looking at them saying, what are you going to do? Like it's sneering at them in a way. It seems kind of sinister.
Oh yeah, pretty much all of Dogman reports. People unanimously agree that it is an aggressive creature.
Yes.
And far more so than Bigfoot. So yeah,
But there
I mean, and
are
if
there
you think
are
about it, it's definitely an apex predator. And you know, if this thing
absolutely.
is real, it's a dangerous creature. So you
The
know,
one that I love more than anything is the experience that Steve Kruger had. Now, this is a gentleman who worked for the DNR, Department of Natural Resources for Wisconsin. This sighting was back in autumn of 2006. Long story short, he is a DNR worker who drives along county roads, highways. He has a charted territory where he recovers dead carcasses from the side of the road. He was around Holy Hill, which is a beautiful church in the area of south central Wisconsin, not far from Bray Road, about 40 minutes away. So he was picking up a deer that was not charted on his pickups, and as he was sitting in the cab doing the paperwork, he threw the deer in the back of his truck. He felt the truck shake a little bit. He thought it must just be the wind. Truck shaked a little bit more, staggered this time, and when he looked in the rearview mirror, he described he saw pointy ears on a creature that was about 7 feet tall, reaching into the bed of his truck. Now, whatever did reach into the bed of his truck did successfully pull out a 100 plus pound deer carcass, and as well as they took off the extender on the back of his truck. Now, the thing that startles me about this sighting in itself is the fact that this is a DNR worker. So this is somebody who knows animals of Wisconsin. They know what a coyote looks like. They know what a deer looks like. They know what a bear looks like, etc. So their validation is highly accredited here. On top of that, this is somebody who has no reason to lie. Family man who is just working a 9 to 5. So that case to me alone is really stuff like that really the validation behind that really helps propel this thing forward into could it be real?
yeah, it's a very interesting topic. And there are, I don't know if you've ever heard of Dogman Encounters. The host name is Vic.
Yes, yeah.
I think he's one of the most prolific researchers, but I mean, I guess armchair researcher, but he's compiled an enormous amount of interviews and information. Um, Tons of people claim that they've seen it, that they've had, you know, like really intense experiences with it. I was even on one episode of the show because I had like a weird experience back in the early 2000s that I thought maybe was a dog man. But I didn't know that until I became affiliated with the Dogman team years later and started, you know, like working with them. But yeah, it's an interesting subject. And you're right, you know, there's not a lot of real research going on. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's actually a lot of drama in the Dogman community, especially online.
Yeah, what's that all about?
It's, oh my gosh, there's so much. I actually have a dossier in my Discord about the Dogman drama on the internet. It's that extensive, and I haven't even really, you know, scratched the surface, to be completely honest. But I have like a ton of stuff compiled for anybody who's like new to that and, you know, is interested in getting into it. But a lot of the investigators or researchers get really hung up on the competitive aspect of it, and they don't really work together very well. And I think that's probably why you're kind of seeing like a little bit of a stagnant situation as far as like research goes. So
That makes sense. Yeah, everyone wants to be the first, of course. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they're too busy fighting amongst themselves to get any work done.
Because there really is no substantial video or picture. I mean, there was a picture taken on Town Line Road in Elkhorn a couple of years ago. I want to say 6 years ago. That just looks like a coyote with mange or a bear with mange walking upright. The only real source of video or anything that we have has been disproven. That was the Gable film, which caused quite a stir in '07 in Michigan, which is a radio station, you know, with a video that they had that a guy thought would be interesting to stir the Dogman stuff up, because Michigan's really known for all their Dogman stuff. I think that's kind of more where the Dogman lore comes from, is more Michigan than. But here, it's weird that a neighboring state has a case like the Beast of Bray Road when Michigan right next door has all those cases of dogmen too.
Yeah, for sure.
My
Well, we
hardest thing is
appreciate
when people
you so
report
much
seeing more
coming
than
up.
one. Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. I'll let you know if I see anything. But yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely keep us updated, and if at all possible, I don't know if you are going to be in that area, if I'll still be on tonight. I was going to say you could come up and like do a little screen share or whatever, and whatever. But
Yeah, I'm gonna
it,
keep the
it
live running because I'm getting close to it, so I'm gonna keep the live running just so I feel like I have some company. 'Cause it's a little creepy,
Yeah.
but yeah, it'll be cool.
okay.
So thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and drop you down though. Come back in the box. TikTok has a policy you're not supposed to be like traveling when you're on. So I'm gonna drop you
Yeah,
down, but
yeah.
come back when you're ready. And we'll be looking forward to that. Alrighty.
Yes,
Awesome.
please.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
We do have a guest. Let's get Kevin up here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I hope the guy can show us around a little bit. That would be really cool.
It'd be interesting, yeah.
Hello,
Definitely.
welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Kev,
Oh,
he was just
he's
about
gone.
to say something. Oh,
It might have been an accidental request. Kevin, if you're still with us, if you want to come back, feel free to hop back in the box. If that was an accident. Otherwise, come back. I saw in the comments he said something about Bigfoot. So I don't know, maybe he'll come back in a second.
Quite
It seems
possible.
like a lot of people have had, like, their bars have kind of been a little glitchy tonight. So I don't know, maybe we're having a little bit of a connection problem or something.
I don't think it's on your side. I think it's on theirs. But it
yeah.
could be,
Right, yeah.
especially if they're mobile and moving, that's going to intercept and interfere with signal.
Yeah. So,
Maybe.
Druid and Ollie, what do you all think about Dogman? Do you have any thoughts on Dogman?
Dogman. Wow.
It's no Bat Squatch, but,
I
you
know.
know.
It's that one story. Remember I told y'all that story about Cattle Lake that I was paddling by myself? I mean, it's inconclusive, but I felt what that could have been. What people have described Bigfoot to be, it didn't look like that. It could have been that. But that was like a very brief encounter and a little spooky one because the hairs on the back of your neck that get up there.
Mm-hmm.
That if it's like a predator or something's like aggressive, and it's like that. And what that gentleman was just saying about how standoffish it is, and how Sasquatch usually tries to like, you caught it. It's like peekaboo, and he wants to hide behind a tree. Like, let me get out of the way. It's kind of like that. This thing was just standing there, right? Like as if it really, didn't like if I got too close, I think it'll throw something. It'll jump into the kayak or so. Like that's the thing. But it still perplexes me as to if this thing is more cursed magic or is it like a Sasquatch? Is it something that's a cryptid that it's unknown? But like you said, Sarah, Sasquatch makes sense. Dogman, however, seems very much more cryptid, like, paranormal.
Yeah, I have my theories on Dogman because I've been in the Dogman community for a number of years at this point, and I have a lot of hot takes on Dogman. And I just keep it to myself, because, like, I mean, but the thing is, too, like, and especially doing these streams, I've had a lot of people come on and talk about it, but I've had a lot of people contact me, like, through email and, TikTok Messenger and tell me these stories about Dogman. And it's like, these people seem like they're so sincere that they really, truly saw what they saw. And, so my logical brain is like, Dogman cannot possibly be real. But it's so interesting how many stories and encounters there are because there are tons. I mean, it's crazy. it's just really insane how many people out there have had experiences.
I mean,
And
I
I'll tell
can't
you
refute
another thing too.
nor,
That's
I can't refute nor prove Dogman. I mean, I'm pretty much on the fence of it because, yeah, there has been a lot of sightings, but at the same time, it seems so outlandish that I can't say yay or nay either way.
yeah, Cat Mama. I don't ever tell anybody. When people email me and stuff, I never discuss those stories anywhere. Um, Usually, even if people say like, "Oh, it's okay if you talk about this," I just don't. I just have a policy to just never really mention it again to anybody. And I don't even mention it like in my personal life because like I'm gonna go tell my neighbor like I got an email about Dogman this week. No, you know. So what happens in my inbox stays in my inbox, honestly. But
No.
so I
I
hope that
wonder
guy
if he
comes
has
back.
like trumpets.
Um,
Let's see. But yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I know there's just so many things about Dogman, werewolf slash. I mean, a lot of things like that. And then there's so many, historical accounts of Sasquatch, down to cave paintings. So it's still perplexing. Again, I kind of believe that something like a Sasquatch can be out there. Um, Given the magical world, nothing really stuck that much in this day and age, but Lord, maybe it's out there. Maybe it's something supernatural instead of natural. I consider Sasquatch and like the Loch Ness monster and stuff like that more like cryptids, closer to unexplained cryptozoology or undiscovered. Given that they make sense. Heck, even Megalodon makes sense.
yeah, I mean natural creatures that are likely to occur in nature, yeah, for sure. And then you have something like Dogman, and you know me, I'm wanting to just talk about it, about what I think about Dogman. I'm gonna shut up about it though, but
Your fascination
it's
with Dogman would be akin to my friend Chris's obsession with Bigfoot.
no, I would say that my fixation on Bigfoot would be akin to the Bigfoot.
Fair, fair, fair,
um,
fair.
but yeah, the Dogman thing, honestly, the Discord. And you're both over there. I don't know if it's anything that you're interested in because it is actually in a hidden tab, um, for legal purposes. But I have a dossier. You guys could check it out if you're interested.
Noted, noted.
Just let me know and I'll add you to the list. It's like a little speakeasy in the back room of Discord.
Oh, all right.
I'm down.
Yeah, and well, one of the reasons we have it, and it's funny because me and Tully are actually talking about it right now in Discord as well. We're trying to like kind of put together a little interview with somebody in the Dogman community, and so that's one of the reasons we have it. But
The guru, you subscribe, and then you get access.
The golden star on the bottom.
Yeah.
Pretty Lady says, "Why won't you tell us about Dogman?"
Because it's rough.
You know,
Oh.
it's rough, very much so. Yeah. Um, that was funny. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the reason that I won't talk about it is because I will talk about it. I'll actually, guys, if anybody wants to have this discussion, it's a big rabbit hole, but we'll do it on the Discord. So if anybody's interested in joining the Discord, that would be a good reason to do it. And maybe we'll schedule a Dogman Day because there are a lot of things to be said about that topic. And I've always wanted to talk about it on, like, back when I was still doing my YouTube channel and stuff, which I kind of, it's kind of in limbo at this point, but I don't know, it just always starts trouble. And that's what I was talking about with that one guest that we're hoping is going to come back. There's a lot of drama, and there's more drama than there is research going on. And I really should shut up before I just start saying it, because I can't think something and not say it. I just have to say it.
There's a book that I have done by Bob Curran called Werewolves. He has a whole series. Like, I have a whole bunch of them. There's vampires, zombies, werewolves, lost lands and sunken realms and stuff like that. But in his werewolf book, it actually has a very, very good-sized section in reference to Dogman, which is where any knowledge I have about the topic actually came from, and the reference where I got the whole thing about St. Christopher being one. But that might be one that you would be interested in looking into.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We do have a guest, actually. I did not realize that. Oh my gosh, I hope they haven't been sitting in the box for a while.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I am so glad that this channel exists because I've been dying to tell this forever. To make a long story short, I'm from Pennsylvania originally, and a member of my family had practiced witchcraft. So people really never thought about it or, really talked about it until about 1985. I was about 15 years old when it happened. My cousin, we were sleeping over at my grandmother from the other side. You know how people have two grandmothers. And it was my grandmother on my mother's side. She was practicing witchcraft for years, and when my cousin went to go into the room, she wasn't able to open the door at first, and she was trying to break into the door. When she finally broke into the door, the pillow was strangling her grandmother. And ever since then, I realized, when it comes to things like witchcraft and the paranormal, stuff that I really didn't believe in, that there's more to it than we ever imagined. And that's my story.
Just goes to show apparently the spell she did worked.
I to this day, it's hard for me to fathom how many other things, paranormal things that really exist out there that we just don't know. And all I know is witchcraft and Ouija boards and things like that, they do hold some kind of an energy. And words have meanings. And the power of, thinking about something, what's the book that came out, when you manifest things, what was it called?
The Secret. You're talking
The Secret.
about the cracks. Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff, it's real, The book, The Secret, is real. If you think about something, go ahead.
Yeah, but that's a very scientific thing. That's not really an occult practice. And
Well,
I
I
haven't
think-
read The Secret, but I do know exactly what it's about.
Well,
And
words
that's
have
something
meanings is
that's-
the point.
That's something that I utilize a lot in my life, is like basically the law of attraction. And really, truthfully, it all comes down to just your brain figuring out the pathways to help you get to where you're going in life. So it's actually just like a mental discipline. And as somebody, and myself, Andrew, included in this, people that have been in the occult for a long time, I would say that there is a vast difference between things like the occult and things that have scientific backing behind them. So,
Well, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, just to throw that out there, because I think it's important. I think that not everybody knows that, but the law of attraction is actually an amazing thing that there is some science behind.
100% agree. 100%. Your channel's awesome, by the way.
Yeah, and what you were referencing about like the magic and stuff. I mean, obviously, when you're practicing forms of magic, depending on intent, they can either help or harm. But most people I know tend not to do magic that is harmful. I mean, yeah, most people I know tend to use magic for healing or self-improvement and whatnot.
But don't you think if people use magic that they could open up certain doors that they weren't supposed to?
I suppose if they're not experienced enough in it, but I mean, I'm a pagan. That's part of my practice is magic. So, the idea that all of it is necessarily evil, I mean, that's not really the case. There's quite a bit of it that's used in benefit, like how a Christian would pray for the healing of an individual. Then, the pagans might possibly do a spell or an incantation to help heal the individual. Same type of concept.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I use magic myself, and one thing that I've been told and taught by my elders is in any forms of magic, you don't open any doors that you can't close. A lot of people that do open doors and don't know how to close them, doesn't matter if it's white, black, in the middle, you're gonna have some backlash. It's like, you can't control a campfire. If you don't make a campfire, if you don't know how to control it, otherwise you're just gonna burn down the forest and Smokey the Bear is gonna come at you. It's kind of like that.
Makes total sense. Anyway, you guys, I appreciate your time. You have a good day.
Yeah, thank you for coming up.
Good night. Good night, y'all.
Very cool. Yeah, I live by the law of attraction. I mean, I love it. I think it's the closest thing that I'll ever experience to like real magic or something like that. And last year or year before, I can't remember when it was, I was reading something. I don't even know what it was. It was like this whole big thing about how your brain carves out pathways and like how your synapses and all that stuff works. And if you guys have never read anything along those lines, that is an incredibly fascinating read. And I think also if more people would read that type of stuff, it will help you with just everyday life in general, like everything from
Yeah, I
remembering
agree.
things to functioning to, like if you're someone who maybe you have like ADHD, maybe you have, other things going on, whatever the case may be, if you really look into this and you start to understand how our brains work from a scientific point of view, and you start to kind of harness the power of that, it's amazing. You can change your life so easily. And it just comes down to like how our brains work. It's a very, very simple thing, very
Essentially
complex, but
rewiring them to more of a positive thought pattern. Like, I will
absolutely.
actually say, instead of saying if I win the lottery, I say when I win the lottery. I'm
Yeah.
curious. I want to see if it works,
Well,
Yeah.
now that might be the one outlier in the situation because you have just as good of a chance of winning the lottery if you don't play it. So I have a conspiracy theory about the lottery. I don't think anybody actually wins it. I think it's all
Really?
lies. I think it's all lies.
Huh.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
kind of agree with you.
does anybody like? Okay, so there's like almost 200 people here. Does anybody know anybody who's ever won the lottery? And I don't mean like $10,000. I mean like millions, billions. Like, does anybody know anybody?
I don't.
I do not.
I think there's something fishy going on with the lottery. I mean, think about it. It would be the greatest. Would it be a pyramid scheme? I don't even know, but it would be the greatest one ever.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
no one has.
I mean, we see them on TV. Like, I've seen people from my hometown area on TV, like they allegedly won the lottery, but I don't know those people, and I don't know anybody who knows those people.
Yeah.
Raven said his grandpa did. Was it a significant amount, or was it? I mean, because I think like the scratch offs and stuff. I think you can win 10 or 20,000, something like that on those. But now,
Yeah. I know I won like 500 from a couple scratch offs. That was
Most
from
I've ever won is like $10.
and I was like, what is this? My dad was like, "Oh, you won." And it was like, he owned the store, and I was just like, I popped one out, and I was like, oh, so the money goes back to us, or he just lets me keep it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always won some things gambling, like that little tingly feeling in my right back shoulder happens. I drop out, like I take my winnings and I go. It's kind of like my little cheat sheet and gambling sometimes. I rarely do it, but yes, I agree with you kind of with that, Sarah, because it seems so. Yeah, it could be a conspiracy theory. I honestly think it is.
I mean, they already rig your casinos anyway.
Yeah.
For example, like if you go to the very first, like the far end slot machine, you have a better chance of winning than, other ones and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard that. And then there's a thing in America where in some of the casinos or even certain like betting areas, like even racehorse uh horse racing, goodness. There's a stone. They call it the casino stone. It's hyperstein. They don't allow that if they notice what it is. They don't want somebody wearing it coming in, because people apparently win with that. It's a
Wait,
little
with what now?
hyperstein. It's called,
Hyperstein.
yeah, the casino stone is what they call it. I never knew this. This is a thing that I learned um, in the trade circle with the crystal trade circles. I was like, whoa, really?
I think I need to find one of those stones.
It's actually, you can find it here. It's expensive outside of the US, but I think you can find it at your local apothecary if they
Yeah,
have
I
it.
googled it. It's a pretty rock.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it looks
is.
really cool.
Yeah.
You should
I
type that in the comments, Ollie, because there's some people asking what kind.
Hyperstein. There you go. It's really beautiful. It really is. And
Yeah.
don't tell the cops or anyone where you got this information.
Oh, apparently
But
Heather Bolton has a bracelet of it.
yes, I ordered a bracelet. I actually have 4 coming. Um, and I ordered that like day before yesterday, so there's 4 of them coming. But yeah, they're pricey when they're molded and stuff like that. You can get them tumbled and stuff, but no, J Bean, I don't think it's fully illegal. It's just like it's like a superstitious thing. It's one of those luck charms that many casinos won't allow for a person to come in wearing. If they see it, they'll be asking you to take it off and take it outside or something like that. Um, but yeah, like it's a heavy luck charm. However, it's not always just luck in that matter. This could also be a backfire. So let's say if, for example, Sarah out here is wearing a pendant or a bracelet and she's going out dog man hunting, she might just see it and who knows, maybe he'll chase her down. Like it could also be that, but it is like a good charm stone. It's very pretty though. I'll tell you that. It's great to give as gifts or wear yourself. It's a good, it's a good one.
So what I need to do is get a necklace with that on it, and then I need to play the Powerball.
Yes.
Yep, there
Okay,
you go.
noted.
Well, I think that guy that's out hunting Dogman, I think he's probably not going to come back. Um,
Is he in the
but
comments though?
I don't think so. I haven't seen him. Um,
Oh yeah, here's Jason Young. Let me try to get an update. Hi. I wonder if he will. Jason Young, can you hear us?
if you're here, give us a sign of your presence.
Oh man, I really hope. You know what scares me about Dogman though Like it's one of those cryptids that will come at you, and you can't use a lot of like juju or whatever to protect you. This is like one of those cryptids that um, it's gonna come at you, and I really just hope he's safe. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hopefully he has a pew pew.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've heard some of. If y'all have seen this, I don't know if you call it a mocu series or a docu series in a sense, but y'all seen this series called "These Woods Are Haunted"?
It
I
sounds
haven't.
familiar.
I think it's on Discovery. But if y'all have HBO Max, y'all can see it. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Definitely check it out if y'all get a chance, because a lot of those people have stories, and I feel like some people that have told their stories here were kind of related almost or similar, um, to a stance where yeah, Tina's right there. It's also on the
Oh,
trail.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I kind of was like locked into it. Some things were very spooky over there, but yeah, definitely.
You were talking about horse racing earlier, and it's funny because I live, pretty close to where like the big famous Kentucky horse racing thing goes on every year. It actually just happened. We were talking about it on here one night about a month or so ago, or maybe that was on Discord. I can't remember. But my mom, she loved that type of stuff, and she wouldn't really get involved with it, but she talked about it a lot and stuff. And I remember one time, and I think it was like 2014 or 2015, she called me. She's like, "I know which horse is going to win," and I was like, "Oh yeah, do you?" And she told me which one she thought was going to win, and I was like, "Oh well, you should have, joined in the fun." That horse won. She was right. And it was weird. Like, she had some kind of strange intuition when it come to which horse was going to win. She was usually right about it, but she never, I don't want to say too many words here on TikTok, but she never, like, invested in a horse, we'll say.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was weird. It's like, I don't know how she knew, but she would always know.
Some
So,
people
okay,
just
well,
have
I
that type of
guess.
luck.
Yeah, I mean, well, and another thing too is like she used to play the lottery, like the Powerball or whatever, and she had a set of numbers that she played for years. And as soon as
Hmm.
she quit playing it, some of them came up. So if she had played it just a little bit longer, she would have won like a couple 100,000 or something like that. But she had
Wow.
quit by then. Yeah, but so I guess we're gonna call it for the night because Dogman dude's not coming back. I don't think. Has anybody seen him in the comments or?
Nope.
No, I kind of commented, tried to reach out, but I think he's lost.
Yeah, maybe Dogman is chasing him through the woods right now. We'll never know. Maybe he'll come back and give us an update. All right,
Well,
guys.
thank you, everybody.
Let's see. So I've been so bad about the everything I need to remember to say. I just haven't been doing it. Okay, start from the top here. Check out my new video. I have a video posted. It's getting pinched. You guys know what I mean? It's not getting whatever. It's actually a really cool ghost story. It's a very tragic story. And it is a Parkersburg, West Virginia story because I'm reaching out to West Virginia here recently. So go check that out. Leave some comments. I don't know. Leave some troll comments. I don't care. Just interact with it. Whatever you got to do. Hit the little gold star if you want to join the Discord and get access to subscription only videos because I have that feature now. Don't forget, this is one that I keep forgetting to tell you guys. There is a little bell at the top of my profile. If you click the bell, you can turn on live notifications so that you get notified when I go live. We're here Sunday and Monday night, 11, not 9, that's the old stream, 11 p.m. Eastern. Why does this get harder? You would think after I do this for a while it would get easier, but it's not getting easier. Yeah, so 11 p.m. Eastern to 2 a.m. Druid, if you are into witchy stuff, check
Hmm.
out Druid. Druid knows all the witchy stuff. Ali knows all the magic stuff. I just know the Appalachian story stuff. What else do I usually say? I don't know. There's probably some other stuff, but guys, definitely the Discord. Come hang out with us in the Discord. You'll have a really good time. And if you're lucky, I might let you into the secret Dogman room on the Discord, and we might talk about Dogman. Only if I know you and trust you, though, because I'm not going to tell just anybody this story. So, so if you're a total stranger, don't think you're going to mosey in and get all the dirty details, because I ain't going to tell just anybody.
But what if you're totally strange?
That's okay. That's
Okay,
actually
just making sure.
required to be able to handle the Dogman information in the first place. So, wait, what is it, Raven? What are you, Raven, saying me by what? Are you leaving, Raven? Well, I mean, we're all leaving, but like, I don't know. Message me or something, Raven. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, guys. Well, we'll be back next Sunday. I might pop on, maybe. Don't quote me on this. I might pop on some other time this week and do like a random stream. We'll see. We'll see if I have time. Ali, Drew, thank you all for hanging out with me, and thank you all for sharing your stories and hanging out with us, and we'll see you all later.
Have a good night.
Good night. Bye.